And we are live again. Wrestle Purist live, hosted by myself and Ibu of Wrestle Purist, better known to some of you guys as Backup Hangman. And this week has easily been one of the busiest weeks as far as news goes in the short couple years that Wrestle Purist has been around. Definitely, Vince McMahon has resigned from WWE TKO due to a pretty disturbing lawsuit. Triple H was asked about it at the Royal Rumble presser. It's also been a very busy weekend of wrestling in general. So we're just going to kind of get into a little bit of everything, a little bit of nothing, and just kind of hang out. And yeah, man, kind of, you guys know what we usually get up to. So first things first, please like, subscribe, send any super chats with any questions, any reactions, any takes, any opinions, anything at all. We'll get them read out tonight. Turn on the post notifications. Hope everyone's doing good and had a good week. Starting with my fellow co-host, Ibu, brother, what's going on?
What's going on is it's a very hectic time for me personally, and I'm just kind of scrambling to do everything I need to do on my days off, which is it's tough, man. The sun sets early. I got so much to do. I'm running all over the place, but I found a way to make the town, Monty, because real wrestlers make the town. So I'm here. I'm ready to talk about what we're scheduled to talk about, which I'm not even totally sure what that is, what that would entail outside of the Vince stuff. But I have a lot to say about Vince. I have a lot to say about Paul Levesque's performance at the presser. I have a lot to say about the wrestling media, and so I'm ready to get into that. And I'm in a pretty good mood as well because Monty, as you know, I was never flinching.
Nah, bro.
Regarding,
listen, save it, bro. Save it.
I was never flinching.
Because
Never doubted Cody Rhodes.
We're gonna have to address these false claims you are making right now, bro. Like, I cannot allow it. As somebody who listen, we got time to get into it, so we'll get into that. We'll have that argument, so you can put a pin in that one, Ibu. So
sure,
to run it down for the people, we're gonna of course cover the Vince McMahon resignation because we haven't done like a proper live stream since it happened. Obviously, I know we did a watch along with it was an AEW Collision watch along. I know they watched some of the Rumble as well, but anyway, it's the first proper live stream we've done since Vince McMahon has resigned, so we're going to cover that. We're going to get into Triple H's comments at the Royal Rumble presser. Yeah, we'll talk about the media, I guess. Probably start me off on another rant. And yeah, I guess we've got an argument to have, Ibu, because I ain't letting you get bored with that.
Nothing to argue. I've been the most ardent and vocal, not only supporter of Cody Rhodes, I've been the guy trying to tell you, for those, you guys can check the records. Monty was on here like, I'm flinching, bro. I'm fucking phased, man. I'm fucked. I'm knackered, bro. I think he's not going to win. He's not going to, it's going to be Dwayne, man. And I'm like, yo, bro, why are you tripping? Why are you tripping? Cody's undeniable. And he proved it yesterday. And I'm happy. I'm vindicated about it. The crowd was into it. He faced off Roman Reigns. That reign of fucking terror is going to finally end. This tired-ass, repetitive-ass title reign with the same goddamn finish for months on end, which we only see every few months because he doesn't show up to work. It's finally going to be over. And Cody Rhodes is going to win the championship. And it's just the right thing that needs to happen. The ace of the universe is going to get crowned. So we'll get into all that.
Whatever, bro. You're coming on this platform that I've scratched, clawed, bled, cried, done everything I can to build, and you want to come on here and just lie. It's definitely fine, Werther. So you've been building them up already, to be fair, in 2024, bro. It's kind of getting crazy now. But
just wait till tonight's space.
Oh no. Not the midnight space that doesn't actually start till 1 a.m. That's why he does it, by the way, people. Anyone who does tune into Backup Hangman's famous Twitter spaces that have hundreds, I'm sure on a few occasions, 1,000 people in there. He has them so late at night because he knows it will be like 5, 6 a.m. UK time, and I will be unable to monitor what he gets up to on there. Us meaning that it is not part of the Wrestle Purity universe. We do not accept any liability to damages caused by the Backup Hangman side Twitter spaces. And
I'm trying to get Kali on tonight. I'm not even joking. I'm going to try to
get Kali.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get Kali on tonight.
I'm not even asking. I ain't, bro. I swear I'm not even asking. We'll do a couple of super chats and we'll get into, of course, the huge topic. Zaid9499, appreciate you. Hi crew. It's been some time since last super chat. Been taking care of Logan, who's ill. Sorry to hear that, brother. Had to come back and say, let's fucking go. Cody, Ibu / crew, how we feeling? Yeah, man, it's good stuff, man. We're definitely gonna get into all that.
How we're feeling is we're fucking ready, bro. Ready, Cody Nation, stand up.
Losing fight 199. Appreciate you. Punk injured question mark. Well, you know we've pretty much seen what you've seen, bro. To be completely transparent with you, you know he looked like he was holding his arm a bit. He was bumping a little bit weird as the match was going on. So who knows? Even just from what we saw from the fan videos and obviously what we saw from the pay per view last night, it didn't look like it was anything like too major. So you would hope it isn't. So we'll wait and see. Isaac 499, appreciate you. The flock just broke my heart. Any good news surrounding Bron Breakker to the main roster?
Listen, Isaac, I'm so sorry about what happened to the Ravens. He's talking about Ravens flock, Monty. They lost against the Kansas City Chiefs just now. Lamar Jackson's.
I know it's why we're late.
Yeah, see that's the thing.
We got to let our US friends
enjoy the football.
On a Sunday evening, we got to let you do that.
And he's like, we've gone toe to toe with Sunday Night Football before, but this is a playoff game, and it's like a humongous one. Lamar Jackson of the Ravens versus Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs. Two of the biggest quarterbacks in the game, the biggest stars in the league. Two black quarterbacks, Monty. One is a yellow man like yourself. The other one is a you know. But no, the point is though. Look, Isaac, I'm sorry for the loss. Really, really brutal. Lamar had a great season. It just didn't come together here. But if you want some good news, I can tell you this: Bron Breakker, expect to see him on Monday Night Raw. He is going to deal with the Judgment Day. He's going to target every single member of the Judgment Day, Isaac. And I can tell you this also. This is something I found out that I think someone reported. I ended up seeing it on my timeline, Monty. I was told this. Apparently, Brock Lesnar was going to face Dominic at the Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia. That was an actual thing that was planned. So I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I don't know if that might have been funny, but nevertheless, if that's not happening, Braun might just get all of Brock's creative, which it looks like he is, because again, he is going to be targeting the Judgment Day.
You see how it plays out, man. Big fans. If the people don't already know, we are big fans of Bron Breakker. So, PFAF_PDF 199. Appreciate you. Was at the Rumble. Lost my voice after Cody Rhodes won. Yeah, man. Big moment, brother. Happy you got to see it. Caden Lee 499. Was on site in St. Pete last night. Fun live experience, but that city does not have the infrastructure for big events. Caden Lee is everywhere.
Yeah, how is he? Where does this guy live? He's always in a different country.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what part of the US
He'll
is
be like,
he
yo,
living
I'm in All In. Yo, I'm at Madison Square Garden. Yo, I'm at this place. I'm at that place. I'm like, yo, I was at WXW Germany. It's like, what the fuck is going on with this guy?
Yeah, I hope you had a good time. GN £2, appreciate you. Wanted Man versus American Nightmare is the agenda.
Monty, that's a match they whiffed on before firing Dolph. They should have let Cody work Dolph.
Yeah, no, that's a worldwide match, that is, bro.
Quite frankly, I think they should give Dolph his job back next year.
Hey, man.
He's gonna rehab his value. You might as well.
Scott 279 Canadian, appreciate it. Cody gonna kick out the spike/spear at Mania.
I can tell you this.
It wouldn't surprise me, bro.
They're gonna do that spot again, and it's gonna give me a heart attack.
Probably.
They're gonna do it again, and Cody's gonna kick out.
Hush 999, appreciate you. I'm fine with the Rumble being story driven, but it truly kills the allure, in my opinion. Felt a bit too predictable. Stories are always better being built inside the Rumble rather than going into the Rumble.
That's an interesting claim. Yeah. The thing is, I've seen story-driven Rumbles that I thought were like godly, and then story-driven Rumbles that were just kind of okay. Like this one, I thought the men's Rumble was just largely just kind of a generic battle royal until the ending, where they kind of honed in on like the key players. Whereas last year was also story driven too, but like it was much more dynamic and creative. Like if you remember, Monty, it opened up with Sheamus and Gunther. That's who opened up that Rumble. And Brock came in and was clearing out a bunch of people, but then Bobby Lashley eliminated Brock. And fucking Edge derailed the plans of the Judgment Day in the Rumble. And Cody Rhodes, at the end, he faced off with Seth Rollins. We got Logan Paul and Ricochet kind of starting their feud. So there was a lot of good story stuff in that one, and that was a much more creative Rumble. This one was like a more generic one until the end that was story driven. So unless, yeah. So that's kind of my stance on that.
Will Chisholm, $5. Appreciate you as always. Cody looked The Rock in the eye and said, "I'm not moving."
That's what he fucking does. Bro. He's the ace of the universe. He dapped him up. He dapped him up at day one, Monty. You know that? You know, Fightful reported on that. Slapped him up. You know what he said to him? He said, "Yo, this is my year." And Dwayne said, "No problem, bro."
Wish 199 appreciate it. Also, not having many returns deflates the match. Yeah, it's definitely a big part of the Royal Rumble that a lot of people look forward to. So, you know,
I have a hot take.
How good they are and how many of them there are absolutely does affect people's enjoyment of the show in general.
I have a hot take. I think too many returns dilutes it, and then some of them get lost in the shuffle. I think you should save some of them for Raw and SmackDown after the Rumble. Like, for example, Andrade, it was cool to see him. I'm not convinced they wouldn't have been better to just debut him on TV, because like he was cool, but it's just like he didn't make it to the end, and ultimately he was eliminated in the middle. So it's like, you know, that can get lost in the shuffle. So I actually don't mind saving some returns. Rey Mysterio could have came back yesterday, but he didn't, and it's like it would have been forgotten, I think. So
Zay Flowers, $2. Appreciate you. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me.
That's a song.
I know. Shout out the Swifties. Darren Walker, £2. Appreciate you. Braun and Corbin versus Judgment Day is what we need. Hey,
we don't need Corbin back on main roster TV. So
him and Braun is a good little tag, man. But it's not. But that being said, it's not how I'd introduce Braun Breaker into the main roster as Baron Corbin's tag partner. As much of which is a shame for Baron Corbin and whatever fans he has out there, you know, because he is definitely some of the best stuff he's done in recent years, and it's been very obviously quite short-lived. I'm sure it's not short-lived. They're gonna continue because they're still in the Dusty Cup, aren't they? So
yeah, they're gonna go to the finals, and look, as a team, they feel like those guys in Japanese tag teams. To be honest, though, like if they feel like those teams where like Corbin feels like those fucking Bull Buchanan, giant Bernard ass white guys who are big and know how to do corner punches, and they're in middle early show tags from the 2000s and in the 90s. But it's some of Corbin's most inspired work, and so I'll give him credit for that. But I'm still not trying to see him on the main roster. So I don't know. I saw a guy pitch to me, Monty. Someone said, "What if they do Braun and the Creeds versus Judgment Day in a 6-man?" And let me tell you something. Sounds like real business. I think Cody should adopt Braun Breaker.
Adopt him.
Yeah.
We'll see, man. Hopefully to figure it out for him, because he's a serious talent, man. Serious talent.
Serious somebody.
Sebastian, 199. Appreciate you. Any idea on which brand Big Andrade will be on?
No, I'm not sure.
I guess most people assume SmackDown, but we don't know. So again, we do not know. All right, so let's get into the huge news. The huge, quite disturbing. Some of the biggest. Like I said, it's been one of the biggest weeks in professional wrestling news, especially since we've been around as wrestle purists. You know, the past couple of years or so. Yeah, it's definitely like the biggest news, but I'm not sure if it's quite the busiest week we've been, because of that week that Punk got fired and the pay-per-view and everything. That was a crazy week. But in terms of like the level, you know, like this was national news. This was like number one or number 2 national news in like America. You know, this is you know, again, we'll go back to that point momentarily. But yes, Vince McMahon has resigned from TKO and WWE. All roles in TKO and WWE, as everyone already knows, because, you know, this isn't this isn't right now. It happened on Friday? Yeah, Friday. Yeah, it was Friday, I think. So yeah, a former employee in a new lawsuit accuses Vince McMahon, I believe John Laurinaitis, WWE being complicit in sexual assault, sex trafficking, and a whole bunch of pretty disturbing accusations and allegations, to be honest. Details are very disturbing. Devil is definitely in the details the more you read. I wouldn't recommend reading the nearly 70-page lawsuit to anyone, to be honest, because it's, as Doc said, very disturbing details. I'm sure many people have seen some of the screenshots of some of the truly just weird, disgusting texts and stuff that were sent by Vince McMahon, allegedly. And yeah, of course, it's all been unfolding as the week has played out since the lawsuit came out on Thursday. So after the lawsuit initially came out, a statement was given to John Pollock of Post Wrestling by Ann Callis, who is Janelle Grant, the person who's making the lawsuit. She's her attorney, saying that basically Grant hopes any doors of secrecy have been blown off their hinges and that fresh air fills the headquarters, and she hopes that those at the company, past and present, who are in fear of speaking out about harm is a thing of the past. She wishes everyone peace. A spokesperson from TKO then made a statement saying Mr. McMahon does not control TKO, nor does he oversee the day-to-day operations of WWE. While this matter predates our TKO executive team's tenure at the company, we take Mrs. Grant's horrific allegations very seriously and are addressing this matter internally. Then a Vince McMahon spokesperson later on that day put out a statement on behalf of Vince McMahon saying this lawsuit is replete with lies, obscene, made up instances that never occurred, and a vindictive distortion of the truth. He will vigorously defend himself. Also in the lawsuit, he claims that the investigation that was conducted by, I believe, WWE and was it a third party as well, or just WWE? Basically calling that investigation into Vince McMahon a sham, and that Janelle Grant was never contacted, even though she made it very clear that she would cooperate with any sort of investigation and do whatever was needed of her. So Jeff Speed, a former independent board member of WWE, shared a statement via the New York Times, reaffirming basically his confidence in the initial investigation. The quote was something like, "I remain confident in our investigation, which included outreach to Mrs. Grant and engagement with her lawyers." And then, yeah, obviously it was all coming out, all breaking. Of course, everyone was having reactions to it. Everyone pretty much unanimously was completely disgusted, and rightfully so, by these allegations. And like I said a few moments ago, the more details you knew, the more disgusted and kind of disturbed you were, to be honest. It was something I genuinely do regret read. Like, obviously, as being like a news aggregator and part of the media, like, of course, you want to be informed on these subjects and stuff like that. But for me, reading the whole 67 pages of the lawsuit is probably something I didn't need to do. I'm not saying it's like traumatized me or anything like that, but it's like, what did I get out of reading those, again, disturbing, just depraved details of that lawsuit, other than being informed on the severity of it, which of course is important. But I do think that the initial Wall Street Journal article, which was also somewhat disturbing to read through, I think they covered the gist of it pretty well, to be honest. So, again, would not recommend reading that 70-page lawsuit. And then the next day, Slim Jim, huge sponsor for WWE, huge moneymaker for WWE, basically pulls out of sponsoring the Royal Rumble for WWE. This was first reported by WrestleVotes, and then it was confirmed via a statement to multiple outlets, such as, I think it was John Pollock again, Sean Ross Sapp, I think, got the same statement from Slim Jim when they pulled out of sponsoring the Rumble, and the statement was, "Slim Jim values integrity and respect in all of our partnerships. Given the recent disturbing allegations against Vince McMahon, at this time we've decided to pause our promotional activities with WWE. This decision reflects our commitment to our brand values and responsibility to our community. We will continue to monitor the situation and base our future engagements on our values and what's best for our brand." Sean Ross Sapp as well, when he was tweeting about that, he got the same statement from Slim Jim. Said that there was a There was another big sponsor for WWE that was under consideration of sponsoring working with WWE that then pulled out after the allegations came to light. So that's technically two sponsors that they missed out on due to these allegations. And then finally, well, not finally, of course, but then ultimately Vince McMahon resigns from the WWE, TKO, and all roles. Nick Khan sent out an email saying that I wanted to inform you that Vince McMahon has tendered his resignation from his positions as TKO Executive Chairman and on the TKO Board of Directors. He will no longer have a role with TKO Group Holdings or WWE. Nick Khan. And then, of course, as many of you already know a lot of these details, Slim Jim basically resumed their. Right, that wasn't actually the language used. They didn't say they were resuming their partnership. They said that they are re-entering into the Rumble. So whether that means they are completely resuming the partnership going forwards, or whether it was just for the Rumble and they're going to reevaluate things as more things come out and stuff, we do not know that for sure. But Slim Jim evidently did, do some promotional activity, as to call them, with WWE last night at the Royal Rumble. So he's out. He's gone. Vince McMahon is finally gone. This is definitely the final nail in the coffin. Anyone who thinks that he's came back before, he may come back again, it's not happening. He does no longer have that power anymore. He is out. He's gone. It is over. He's never coming back. It is actually done. Good riddance. Vince McMahon has resigned. Of course, that does not mean that it's all rainbows and sunshine at WWE now. Of course, there is a lot of details in the lawsuit that could definitely incriminate a lot of people, and I guess we'll get into that as we continue with it. But yeah, Vince McMahon's gone. It's done. It's over. He's out of there. It's over.
And there's a relief in knowing that, it's not a final sigh of relief, but there's a relief. It's the necessary first step. It's not the final first step. It's not the final step to take, but it's a necessary first step. This is the only thing that should have happened. This is the only thing that could have happened as an outcome following what Wall Street Journal put out. The bottom line is Vince McMahon is a deplorable human being that has harmed people for decades, and we've already known this in general. But the gruesome details by which Wall Street Journal outlined what he was doing to just one person, and we know that there's more people that he's affected because there's multiple NDAs that are tied to him. It really just kind of laid it out there, and rightfully put a spotlight on it. And again, with this new super group of TKO, this is the only outcome that you could have done. And so, him resigning in disgrace for the second time, by the way, yeah, it's the right move. And I got emotional. I got a little emotional, to be honest, on Friday, because I just thought about it, and I was just like, at the very least, and here's the thing: this is not vindicating, and it's not even justice, because he's lived a 78-year-old life, and so it's like he won. You know what I mean? He had his fun. He got to enjoy millions and millions and millions, and eventually billions of dollars, and he got to use it for all of his vices and everything. But at the very least,
voices.
Exactly.
A little bit worse than voices, to say the least.
100%. But at the very least, knowing that he now no longer has corporate power in any type of working structure is good. So, yeah, good riddance to Vince McMahon. He should be rotting. He's likely going to be living a sad existence for the remainder of his life. There's all kinds of rumors, Monty, about his family being estranged from him and him not having contact with his grandchildren. And it's like, what a pathetic person. You know what I mean? What a pathetic, even his own family, who, his family members, and they're not all saints, but even his family potentially don't have much contact with him and had to kind of back away from the guy. Just a piece of shit, just an absolute piece of shit. And so my sympathies are with all of the victims of his abuse. Anybody that even tangentially was negatively affected by Vince McMahon and just Just his nasty and predatory behaviors. My heart goes out to all of them, living and breathing. And yeah, again, it's not the final step though. It's like it's one of those things where it's like for some people they want this to be a situation of, okay, the bad man is gone. Now time to enjoy my guilt-free wrestling, knowing that everything is okay. And it's like the lawsuit outlined the situation and the reality that we're living in. And that's one where there's a cultural problem in WWE that allowed for this to happen. And I'm sure many people underneath Vince in the power structure were afraid of Vince and maybe felt powerless to do anything because, he was the head man in charge. But at the end of the day, there was a system in place that allowed for him to do this. And clearly, people that took part in it, encouraged it, or enabled it. And so as a result, my hope is that TKO does their due diligence in identifying as many people as possible that were a part of this process and eliminate many of them as possible, even if that includes people that you, or the fans are fond of. Because, and I said this on my space, Monty, it's bigger than wrestling. And look, I know for some people, it's like the real reason why some people are jumping to, okay, the bad man's gone, that's the end, is because they're happy with the WWE of today, and they're happy with the product that Paul Levesque, for example, is giving them, and they would hope that him or anyone else that contributes to this product that they enjoy are implicated, because then it would affect their product. And to that I say, it's deeper than wrestling. Bottom line, it's just deeper than wrestling. And so again, I hope that TKO does their due diligence here. And if this is an opportunity to create a clean slate and finally move on from just the bullshit that's been going on in this industry, at least on this side, from WWE's side, then now it's better now than never, and it's better now than later. So I hope it happens. And again, Vince McMahon could fucking rot. So yeah.
Yeah, of course we'll be finding out how this all plays out at the same time as everyone else, of course. But yeah, these are just first steps, I guess. There's a lot of steps that are needed to be taken before I guess any consumer can rightfully be satisfied. Like I was saying as well, it's far far from sunshine and rainbows just because the big guy at the top who was the main perpetrator. You think he's gone. So let's I guess we'll go from that to keeping it on the main subject of obviously Vince McMahon and get into kind of the reaction according to PW Insider within WWE regarding Vince McMahon's resignation. So one of the things that caught a lot of people's eye was there is a belief in WWE that Endeavour may sweep out anyone close to Vince McMahon and his remaining team in order to have a complete fresh start for the company going forward. There were employees who exited the company when Vince initially resigned, who returned when he forced his way back in. For those who remained with WWE post Endeavour purchase, the belief among those spoken with is their connection to McMahon may be a major negative going forward for their WWE status. So obviously people can speculate on whoever they want really when it comes to that and who those people may be. But I guess it's worth noting that when Vince McMahon forced his way back into WWE and back onto the board, and he basically he put himself, Michelle Wilson, and George Barrios into board positions, which means that he removed Joellen Leon's Dillon, Jeffrey R. Speed, and Alan M. Wexler from the board, and he also two other board members resigned as well when Vince McMahon forced his way back in. So maybe those are some of the names that who he forced himself in with. Maybe they're some of the ones under fire. Maybe nobody's under fire because, again, as the report states, this is just a belief that some in WWE do have. But I don't think it would be too surprising if some of the people that are closely connected to Vince McMahon within WWE are making their way out, cleaning house or whatever you want to call it, a fresh start, as the report states. Yeah,
I mean,
we'll
it wasn't
see.
directly tied to this, but lot of the verbiage, Monty, in the reporting surrounding Kevin Dunn's resignation was that it was a matter of time, and he was a Vince guy, and so and a lot of those guys, you're going to see them start to kind of like wilt away as the TKO thing continues and stuff like that. And again, this is not me jumping, even though I could. This is not me jumping and going, oh, because Kevin Dunn knew this was happening and Kevin Dunn is implicated. I'm just saying, similar verbiage and terminologies were used to describe his resignation.
Yeah. There's also, as well, according to the PW Insider report, there's some in WWE hoping that Vince McMahon's resignation opens the door for Stephanie McMahon to return, although others spoken to caution that it's not the same company that existed internally before Endeavor took over ownership, so how she might potentially fit back in would not be immediately known. So, even when you mentioned this, we mentioned this when Stephanie first, resigned and left WWE when Vince forced his way back in. Stephanie's well liked by many of the talent and just many people in WWE. So, but at the end of the day, with the level of this lawsuit that's came out and some of the details in it, we don't know who knew what. And obviously, Stephanie is quite close to Vince McMahon because he just happens to be his daughter. So, who knows what she knew? So, we just, again, kind of gotta let it all play out. But some in WWE, Ibu, big fans of Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah, that was the big thing that was stressed to me back in the summer of 2022 is that she was very, very well liked by the locker room, the women's division. Like a lot of the women's wrestlers loved her, and very much described to me as a morale employee because a lot of people would kind of like struggle to tell you what she was actually doing there of tangible substance, to be honest, especially by the end. But she was somebody that you could put her as the face of things at events. She had the McMahon name, and there was stability in having that to the shareholders. And beyond that, from a talent standpoint, they said that like when she'd be at a TV, which wasn't every week, but when she was at TV, especially when you got that Levesque, Stephanie, Nick Khan regime of the summer and late 2022 stretch, um, she'd be somebody that would just be there to just kind of make their jobs easier and like take stress off and just have fun. A thing that she apparently would tell people a lot, especially like after Vince resigned, was like, "Let's just go back to having fun. Let's have fun, guys. Like, let's not make this like a tough environment." Blah 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 blah. She'd play music and have quote unquote dance parties backstage. Like she would literally just like dance around and like do that type of thing to cheer people up. She was known to. She was really fighting for reducing people's house show dates. She was fighting to add extra days off to people's schedules. I believe she added Martin Luther King Day as a day off. I think it was that was the one, and a couple other ones. And so she's really big on that. She'd be big on confronting, consoling talent and telling them, like, listen, if you're not feeling it right now, you can just get off the road. And the reason why she was really big on that was because she personally apparently felt that way herself, where there'd be times where she thought wrestling was mentally exhausting and she'd be burnt out about it. And because of the mindset instilled on her by her father, um, even if you didn't feel it, you still had to do your job. But she didn't really identify with that. And so she wanted to make it a thing where talent can just, if they really just don't feel it right now, can just inform everybody and then just be taken off the road for a period of time. And I believe it happened with I think it happened with Dana Brooke. I don't know if that ever got reported. I'm pretty sure Dana was just having some. She was just having some struggles, and they let her get some time off. But anyway, the point is, the talent really, really, really liked her, and that's just me relaying what they say, and this has been corroborated by numerous wrestlers that I've spoken to personally.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, also keeping up with the reactions within WWE, the initial response to Vince McMahon's resignation was a mix of relief and happiness, depending on who you speak with. There are some who felt that McMahon got what was coming to him based on the allegations in the lawsuit filing by Janelle Grant. There are also some who are glad Vince is now distanced officially from the company, as he was, as one source commented, a black cloud hanging over everything, even though he wasn't involved in anything. It was also said that there was a feeling in WWE that once Slim Jim paused their sponsorship, there was going to be additional dominoes that fell, and Vince McMahon would have no choice but to unceremoniously exit at some point. But his resignation happened much faster than anyone in the company had expected, even earlier that day. So, yeah, man, and I guess the other reaction I wanted to kind of read out because it wouldn't be right if we didn't. would be Miss Ronda Rousey. Miss Ronda Rousey did a tweet on yesterday. It was yesterday, I think it was. Yeah, it was yesterday, man, before the Rumble. Bruce Pritchard is basically Vince's avatar. If he's still around, Vince still has a hand in the business. Vince was still running things through Bruce when he was, quote, gone before. So, Ronda Rousey's reaction right there. I know she's not officially with WWE at the moment, but of course, very recently she was. So, of course, of course, it's another reaction, But yeah, that's the reactions. But that Ronda Rousey tweet, man, it's what Ronda's definitely not scared to speak up about something. Sometimes those are things that I definitely don't agree with, But regardless of whether she's right, wrong, whether you agree with her or not, she's definitely not someone who's you know, afraid to open her mouth when she feels like it's necessary, So
No, she's very vocal and opinionated. She was vocal
yes,
and opinionated when she was in WWE. And that second run, last few months, she would literally be like, "Yo, like creative sucks." She would say stuff like that, literally on social media. So Ronda doesn't care. But here's the thing: I can say up that creatively she's not wrong in the sense that Bruce Pritchard learned from Vince McMahon, and even within the company, they see it as Bruce is the avatar of Vince's philosophy with wrestling. And I can tell you, Monty, that Paul Levesque and the team that currently exists at TV, right? It's a lot of people with very different frames of reference of wrestling. You have William Regal, Shane Helms, Bruce Pritchard, Michael Hayes, various writers, so on and so forth. And the way Hunter sees it is he wants different viewpoints of wrestling all in the same team. So just so that the product can cover as many different bases and fill as many different niches as possible. And it was known by the office and by the brass that Bruce in particular was the Vince style of thinking. And so creatively, he would try to implement the things that Vince would probably want when he was around. Now, when it comes to beyond creative, when it comes to like he's an avatar for Vince in other ways, I can't speak to that obviously, but maybe Rhonda can. And we'll see if maybe she wants to comment any further. But I guess respect for her for having the guts to just put that statement out.
yeah, man. As we said, very opinionated, whether you agree with her or not. Definitely not one who's scared to say something. But yeah, where was I going to move to next? You know what? We'll take a quick super chat break. Hush 199, appreciate you. Did Roman phone it in? He felt like a role player.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fatal four way. Roman Reigns, not his favorite.
Actually, I do have some. Roman didn't want to do this match. He didn't want to do a four-way. He has no interest in multi-persons. And he also does not at this point want, like, he has no interest, Monty, in changing his approach to fit a four-way. Because in a four-way, he knows he's gonna have to be moves Roman. And he made it very quickly clear up front, like, I'm not doing that, and I'm not doing a four-way. And then they needed him to do a four-way really badly. And he was just like, I mean, I guess, but yeah, you saw what happened when you see what happens now, Monty. What it looks like when Roman's out there in a match he doesn't want to be in.
Yeah, big star. Hush again, 499, appreciate you. I lost some respect for Triple H. I understand it was a lose-lose for him, but those answers felt way too dismissive to the severity of the situation.
We're gonna get into it. He didn't
yeah.
handle it at all.
Glassdoor Gamer, $2, appreciate you. Hunter is WWE's officer number one. Triple H equals hush hush hush. I mean, okay. Hush 199, appreciate you. I expect Bruce Pritchard to be out next. Even without this, I was expecting Bruce to slowly be phased out anyway, similar to how Kevin Dunn was, But yeah, I doubt this is going to slow it down, But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Who is who is on the way out? Who needs to be on the way out? Etc. Etc. Will Chisholm, $5, appreciate you. Would they had got rid of Vince as fast if Slim Jim didn't speak out? I I'm not sure. I'm also not sure of when Vince actually resigned. You know, like in terms of like, was it after Slim Jim announced that they were pulling out? Was it before? Was it after Slim Jim pulled out before they made it public? Like, when was Vince? You know, what what was the actual timeline of events? These are things that probably should have been asked at the presser yesterday, but we'll get into that as well. Um, so Jizzle, $5, appreciate it. How can fans and employees trust that WWE is creating a safe atmosphere under Hunter without full transparency about what he knew and when? Very, very fair, valid question, and
Valid question.
unfortunately, we didn't get the answers to that last night, did we? So
Yeah, it's a concern that's very fair that many people have. It's actually like many people have that concern in good faith, Monty. To be honest, and there's plenty of people who are like, I just don't. I don't want to feel weird about watching this. Can you ensure me A, B, and C? And that's why it was up to Triple H. Last night was a big night for him, Monty. He could have really eased some concerns, or at the very least, made it clear that he took this serious enough to outline measures that he was going to take to prevent any issues like this happening, while also being at least slightly transparent about the process. And he did none of these things, and he answered it in like the worst possible way, in a way that leaves all of this up in the air.
yeah, yeah, wasn't good, wasn't good. Blah blah blah. 199 Thurston had a great tweet about press ethics. So
Yeah, he just put it out. Pretty
Brandon
good.
Thurston is he's very good at what he does. He's very professional and actually one of the few adults in professional wrestling media. Very much an admirer of what he does and the effort he puts into the work that he does, and he does take it very seriously. So, we'll just read out Brandon Thurston's tweet. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics on Twitter says, "I respect everyone has different goals in wrestling media, but we get to ask only a few questions per month to WWE EVP Paul Levesque and rarely have access to any other executive. A sex trafficking lawsuit was filed a few days ago against three parties: Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and the company itself, WWE. It alleges trafficking and sexual assault, including claims of instances inside of WWE HQ. And not only that, Janelle Grant says multiple executives, at least four who are anonymized, and we can't rule out Levesque or Nick Khan are among them, had knowledge of the relationship between she and entry level employee and Vince McMahon, the CEO, and did nothing to intervene. Keep in mind, WWE itself disclosed in 2022 there are multiple additional NDAs between Vince and other women whose stories we barely know anything about. Given the context and profoundly disturbing new allegations, to ask Levesque about any other subject last night in particular is disservice to the industry and the people in it. Even if further questions produce only bits of transparency or non-answers, those responses and the media's attention to the subject send a message to the public and business partners. If every question would have been about by far the most important story in wrestling this past decade, it would have sent a more resounding signal regardless of the responses. Instead, it feels like there's some headroom where WWE can evade questions about sexual misconduct at the company, a possible cover-up, and instead get to talk about the great business run they're on and how today's product compares to the Attitude Era. Having access carries a responsibility that sometimes matters less, but last night mattered a lot, and half the questions to Levesque were about relatively trivial subjects. I don't mean to put anyone down. Many stories, including this one, involve complicated details. If you feel unsure what to ask, I find talking with other reporters about possible good questions helps. My DMs are open too, and I had dozens of questions I could have shared. If you're afraid of losing access, I can only speak for myself. I've never been dissuaded before or after, and I think WWE anticipates what kinds of questions I'm going to ask before I'm called on, which they've done at each presser I've attended. And ultimately, there are things more important than access, like transparency and accountability. Very well said by Brandon First. I know it was long, but it was definitely something worth
My,
reading because, again,
my God,
very, very on the nose.
my God, too long didn't read. Ask better questions. Stop being afraid about asking better questions. I grill these niggas and put their feet to the fire, and they haven't kicked me out yet. Be better.
Yeah, man. And I guess we'll do these last few super chats and we'll get into that as an entire subject. Hamza says $4.99. Broke my ankle in two places on Thursday. Had surgery on Saturday and wasn't enough to stop me from celebrating the COVID. I'm sorry to hear about that pretty bad injury. It sounds like, man. How did you do it, man? Put it in the chat. And but yeah, man, a lot of celebrations for Cody last night.
Oh, it's just.
Grant Hudson, 499, appreciate it. Hunter would have been better off saying no comment. Both Tony with the Jericho stuff and Cody last night responded better. I mean, I don't think Tony Khan's responses deserve a like oh, that's how you do it sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like Cody's responses were definitely better than Hunter's, and I think from a talent point of view, his answer was relatively, like understandable, if that makes sense. Like I wasn't like after Cody Rhodes finished his answer, I wasn't like disappointed in him or anything like that. And again,
Mhm,
from a talent point of view,
mhm,
I thought he answered as I wouldn't say as well as he could. There's not. I don't think the perfect answer exists
mhm.
in such a situation. But again, I don't think he embarrassed himself in any way. Whereas Hunter, unfortunately, did.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't think Tony came out of that Jericho. Well, it wasn't a Jericho press conference, but I don't think he came out of that particular press conference smelling of roses either. To be honest, mate. So that's how I feel about those instances. Bro, 499, appreciate it. Do you guys hear anything about the roster's feeling about Triple H's poor handling of the press conference? Haven't actually asked as of right now, but that is actually a good question to ask. So we'll see. I doubt any talent would go on record saying that though, even if it is. Obviously, I know reporters don't straight up name like, oh, this talent said this to me by name, but even still, I doubt the talent would even kind of give reporters kind of the permission to report how they feel about Triple H if they are disappointed or whatnot. But who knows? You never know. You never know. Who knows what will come out about it? I'm sure Sean, Mike, and ourselves will also look into talent's reactions to that press conference. So, you know. Um, all right, let's actually get into this press conference. And I've been doing a lot of reading today because I think it's best to be brushed up on the right details and the right context and etc. etc. So there's going to be some more reading, people, and I'm just finding the quotes I transcribed from last night on the Twitter page. And we'll just go straight to Triple H. I guess we'll talk about Cody a little bit later because again, I don't think we need to spend too much time not breaking down Cody's comments as much as Triple H's at least. So. Um, the first person to ask Triple H directly about the Vince McMahon happenings of the week and the stuff that's gone on was John Alba. So shout out John Alba. John Alba asked Triple H how much he knew about the Vince McMahon allegations and how it will affect WWE's partnerships going forward. And Triple H's response was, I'm going to do exactly what you expect me to do here. Look, we just had an amazing week. We just signed a 10-year, $5 billion Netflix deal. The Rock's joining our board. We just sold out the Royal Rumble, put 48,000 people in Tropicana Field. I choose to focus on the positives. Yes, there's a negative, but I want to focus on that and keep it to that. He is then later asked by Cam Hawkins of The Ringer, shout out to him, what procedures are being done to stop employees being taken advantage of? And his answer was, I'll give you the most generalized answer that I can. Everything possible. Yeah. And that is a very important thing to us, a very important topic to us. It's as simple as everything possible. And Brandon Thurston, who we have just shouted out and just mentioned just now, he asked Triple H if he read the lawsuit against Vince McMahon WWE and what his reaction to it was, and he claims that he didn't. He said, I did not. I think Cody mentioned it. We all found out in real time when you were, and that's the truth. I'll go back to what I said before. This is an amazing week for us, and I just at this point, I don't even want to get bogged down with the negatives of it. I just want to focus on the positives and where we are going. We're at the most exciting time of the year for us. We're at the most exciting point to me, business-wise, that we've ever had. I think Cody might have said, I don't remember exactly how he said it, but the best positioning of this company since the Attitude Era. I've been through that era. I understand what it's like. I feel like we are in the middle of something that we might not be able to put our finger on it now, but 5-10 years from now, we're going to be saying, wow, what a time that was. I want to focus on that. Honestly, quite is an understatement, actually. Just flat out, quite, said quite again, just flat out embarrassing. And if you cannot answer in detail and give the transparency that, of course, us as consumers and the media and the fans all want, then although it wouldn't have satisfied what we wanted to know and what we feel like we need to know as consumers, he definitely would have been better off just saying, it's an ongoing issue that's being looked into, and I can't comment on that right now. Rather than the approach that he did take, which came across as dismissive and just being like, oh, I don't want to focus on the negatives. Like, you'd say that if, I don't know, Zelina Vega tweaked her ankle in the Rumble or something, like that. That's like the negatives, when you're kind of talking about things like that. But this isn't just like, the negatives of the show and the negatives and the positives. I want to focus on the
Yeah, this
positives. Like, this is
biggest situation that we're dealing with.
literally the
It's
big, again, as
most
Thurston
important.
mentioned in his tweet, it's literally like one of the biggest, it's probably the biggest story of the decade. The most powerful man in the history of professional wrestling, who ran professional wrestling for the past 45, 50 years or something.
Mhm.
Undisputedly the most important figure in the history of professional wrestling, has just resigned, which that in itself, as I mentioned in my tweet when I was ranting in that thread last night, that in itself is just enough to completely consume and take over like any press conference, But then you add in these depraved, just flat out disgusting details, and then it's even bigger than that, It's a whole thing. Again, it was literally, as I said earlier at the start of the party, it's literally like number one, number two news in the US, and you've got Hunter just being up there, being like, I don't want to focus on the negatives. Like, bro, please be serious. And if you can't and you don't want to talk about it, and you've been advised not to talk about it, or whatever the fuck, then just, again, it wouldn't have satisfied me at all, and I wouldn't be sat here happy saying well done, Hunter, or anything. But just say, I guess, no comment. I can't talk about that right now, because the way he came across was very like dismissive, and again, just chalking it up to I don't want to focus on the negatives is quite ridiculous. And it's not like I don't have an agenda against Paul Levesque, Triple H, um, you know, or anything like that. I think you guys who listen to this channel are very well aware of that. But again, just an embarrassing performance from him. And going into the press conference, everyone knew, and he definitely knew, and everyone at the company and everyone at Tico and everyone knew that that press conference would have been judged based off of Triple H's performance in it regarding the Vince McMahon questions. And quite frankly, he embarrassed himself, the company, and just again, just he just came across as dismissive. Really, it just was not good. Ibil, apologies, Ibil, went a bit long, but floor is yours, I guess.
This press conference was awful. The way the media handled it and didn't jump to ask follow-up questions was terrible. The fact that we got, I want to say 4 questions to Paul Levesque that had nothing to do with this situation is awful. Like, how the fuck, when this is going on, are you going, what do you think, Hunter? This era or the Attitude Era? Go fuck yourself. And then worst of all is Paul Levesque himself. In a space I was in, Monty, I pointed out how it's his job to be a fucking leader and go out there, face the music, talk to the reporters, and ensure that WWE, if it isn't already, will be like that measures would be taken to make this a safe environment, and among multiple things. He failed to do that. He failed to properly address any of this. And again, the way you already said it for me, like his answers were awful because he did the whole like, yeah, man, look, I just want to follow. We had a great week. We had so many good things happen this week, and I want to focus on that. I can't really, I just want to focus on that. I don't give a fuck what you want to focus on, bro. Like nobody. That's like, what I mean. I don't give a fuck what you want to focus on, bro.
Yeah, it doesn't matter like what you want to focus on and like,
It
what you
doesn't
want to
matter.
enjoy talking about. Like in a situation like this, it genuinely it doesn't matter, bro. Like,
Sounds like
what are you doing?
putting his hands on his ears, like he's just like, can we just talk about the Rumble? No, we cannot. What happened? What did you know about? What did you know about what was going on with your father-in-law? You know, what the fuck did you know? Why did you? What happened in the time between you voting, you being a part of a unanimous vote to from the board of directors in December 2022 to hold him away from coming back, and then in January when he was forcing his way back, you then voted him back in. What happened there? Why did Stephanie McMahon resign? Why didn't you? And that Monty, you forgot the one part. He said he didn't read the fucking 60.
I
What is
did,
it?
I read all his quotes. I didn't
Oh,
forget it.
okay.
It's just I didn't stop. You know what I mean? I just read all his quotes, all his answers, one
He
after
said
another. So
he said he didn't read it. He's either
yeah,
lying or it's like, or he's admitting that he prioritized the SmackDown rundown over reading this document that maybe he might be at least tangentially implicated in. And it's just like you can't pass off SmackDown to William Regal for a fucking day and focus on like the biggest scandal your company's ever faced. You know what I mean? You don't think William Regal can handle what happens to Santos Escobar in segment 3? It's absolutely ridiculous. And
yeah,
and 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 again, if you're gonna give non-answers, which like you said, like it's not gonna make people go, "Oh man, you nailed it, Hunter." But like there are so many other better ways to go about doing a non-answer. I could write a fucking PR statement for him right now. If you ask me this, Monty, and they said Paul needs to say something when they ask him about this. He could literally say, "We take the situation extremely seriously. We take the allegations by Ms. Grant extremely seriously. WWE is a place that we ensure is taking all the measures needed to be a safe environment for everybody involved. And while I can't comment on legally, I cannot comment on the details of the matter. I can tell you that it's something that we are all looking at. It's just something interesting. That's generic PR corporate
yeah.
bull.
That and it even like from a company level as well. It's like TKO, WWE, Endeavor. You know, it just seemed like Triple H kind of went out there not prepared. Like obviously he was prepared in the sense that like he knew that that question would come up. You know, um, those questions would come up, or at least some form of those questions would come up. So obviously he kind of knew what was coming, but he did not come across at all like he was prepared. Um, Again, it's like even if you don't want to do the no comment thing, like we
Which is
mentioned, which
baffling.
again wouldn't have been satisfactory, but it would have been better than what we got. Like they could have done a statement at the start of the press conference that was, you know, I guess something similar to what you just thought of off the top of your head, you
Off
know,
the top of
but
my
like
head.
um, some form of statement about it, or just pretty much anything other than what he did without getting ridiculous. Do you know what I mean?
And I want to add this, Monty, because Seahawk Cameron Hawkins asked him of the Ringer. He asked him, "What measures will you take
Yeah.
to ensure the safety of your employees in your company?" And he said, "Everything, everything possible." And okay, Paul, Monty, you know what a reporter following this should have done? A reporter following this should have done. Paul, earlier you said you will take every measure needed to ensure the safety of WWE, but you did not elaborate. Can you speak in more specific terms what that would entail and what would have to be done to ensure this? Because you just gave a very vague and broad answer. There's such things like follow-up questions. That's the job of these reporters. There's nothing that should be talked about at the scrum with Triple H except this situation. That's the bottom line. I don't give a fuck what type of content creator you are. If you're not, if this is above you, then why? Then don't even go. Just don't go. Stay out of it. Don't raise your hand. Don't be there. Sit this one out. Be at the next fucking press conference. But when this situation is going on, either you do what you have to do and show some guts and fucking pursue this situation, try to get as much out of this guy as possible. It should be a full team effort by everybody in that room to do that, or you get the fuck out of the room. Because anything else you're gonna ask is something that you could probably ask in your shitty little fucking YouTube podcasts. That's the bottom line. Who is trying to hear in that moment, is this the most stacked WWE roster yet? That's not an actual question. That's not an actual question. He couldn't even have an answer to
It's
that. He was like, look, there's a lot of talent, and yeah, the Attitude Era was interesting, and we gotta maybe in a couple of years we'll have an answer about how good this era was, and I don't know. What are we doing? He's running out of the clock. He's running the clock out, and you're giving him the opportunity to do so.
yeah.
Everybody should be, even if the first few answers are basically non-answers, you can still press him in a different angle and hope maybe you get a different answer out of
A
it.
non-answer at the end of the day, a no comment or a non-answer or not being willing to address a certain question in itself is something. It is still something. So
Shame,
always ask the question, man. It's so,
for all
John Pollock did a thread on it after the very eventful, especially for him, UFC press conference the other day. He kind of did a thread very similar to the sort of threads that have been going around today. About just you always ask the question, man. Like, even if you're going to get no answers, even if you're worried about the reaction you may get, always ask the question if you truly feel it's an important question. Whereas
you know what
last
those
night
reporters are
it was
basically
very
doing,
clear
Monty?
what the important questions were.
Oh, the reporters following Thursday. You know what they basically were doing? Hunter's sweating. He looked visibly shaken, right? He's sweating. They ran to his corner basically, and they're like flaming it. They're fanning him. They're fanning him. They're wiping his sweat off, and they're like, "Take it easy. Take a deep breath. Drink some water. Okay, now here is a lollipop." That's what they're doing. They're giving him they're giving him a fucking lollipop. Why are you there?
It's not.
What purpose do you serve?
It's tough, but I guess like the last thing I'll say on the media's approach will be, I guess I'll do a rundown of it was like 6 in the morning, bro. I was just kind of sat there after the press conference, and he kind of I guess I was just winding myself up about it. Although it did genuinely kind of like trigger me quite a
I'm gonna
bit.
stop you real
So
quick.
I went on.
I'm gonna stop you real quick. Why did Steve fall after Nick Hausman asked Cody Rhodes about Vince McMahon? Why did Steve fall, grab a mic, and go, well, now to a nicer question? Go fuck yourself. What is wrong with you? What do you mean to a
Not good,
nicer question? What are you
not good,
talking
and
about?
it's not the first time that he's not come off great press conference with WWE. So
What is wrong with him?
yeah. Again, I'll just kind of summarize what the points I made in the rant that I went on at 6 o'clock this morning. But a lot of the points are kind of already covered in what first done. Definitely articulated probably a lot better than I did, and what Ibu was just saying now. But it is just really frustrating watching these media scrums. Like as a fan, it's frustrating. I can understand how frustrating it is as a fan. But like over the past couple of years now, I guess we are classed as wrestling media. Like we are. It's pretty simple. It becomes even more frustrating because like when it's bad, and I'm not expecting it to be amazing, professional or anything, especially judged off what we see these days. But when it is bad, especially at the level that it was last night, you know full well that it's going to come back on all of wrestling media. Whether that's fair or not is obviously another question, but that's not really the topic we're discussing right now. It doesn't really matter. And wrestling media already has a shit reputation as it is. But yeah, that scrum, the media, a lot of the media members' performance at the scrum last night was it was embarrassing yet again. And it's not everyone, which somehow makes it even more embarrassing because there is people in the room that are trying to get the real questions in, like we've mentioned, Alba, Thurston, Cam, Hausman. Whether you love him or hate him, he's definitely not scared to ask a real question. And then those questions will be followed up, as Ibu mentioned, by some bullshit. Like, someone will ask a real question, which will open the door for Triple H or whoever the person is to be pressed. And then the next person will just ask a softball, sometimes a kayfabe question. And it's just embarrassing being a media member, seeing your peers, which I use very loosely, do this shit. And I just wonder to myself, how is anybody who sends the email or fills in the form applying for a media pass sees what's unfolded this week with WWE and Vince McMahon and think it's remotely appropriate to ask about anything else whatsoever. As I mentioned earlier, the fact that Vince has just resigned is enough to completely consume at least the Triple H part of the media scrum. Never mind all the disgusting details, which I definitely don't want to get into. Triple H, as Ibu mentioned, he went up there and he pretty much just spoke freely for like 10 minutes to get started. And the very first question is about the Netflix deal. And it's just like, what
Oh,
are we doing?
that was
Like, what are we doing?
that
And
was
again,
that
as
was
Ibu
hard.
mentioned, if if your mindset is, I'm not the person to ask that, I don't want to be Dave Meltzer, I don't want to be the Wall Street Journal, that's not me, bro, or whatever the fuck, then on a week like this, more than ever, when real questions really are important to be asked and answered, why are you there? Why? Please tell me, why are you there? Like, nobody's paying you to there. Nobody's got a gun to your head forcing you to be there. If you are just there to be a content creator, you can still make content. Go into the Royal Rumble, make your little shitty vlogs or whatever the fuck, set your tripod up in the press conference, do all that shit, whatever the fuck you do. You can do all that, but you don't. It doesn't mean you have to put your hand up and ask these dead, empty questions that nobody needs to know the answers to, and basically potentially taking the chance away from a real question being asked. It's embarrassing.
It's like Tony Khan, right? He'll like his scrums will go like 9 hours. You know what I mean? But Paul Levesque has a very short window. He has maybe a half hour. He gives like five people questions. Why are you taking up space and being one of the very few if you know you're going to ask some bullshit? You know what I mean?
It's ridiculous, man. And it's like,
not
see,
only
everyone, people are, they're scared they'll lose their access or they're scared to lose the free merch or whatever. And I guess in better words, as Brandon Thurston said, my point was like, I'm still yet to hear of anybody in wrestling media being told you cannot ask about this thing or that thing or anything at a scrum. Or I've never heard of a media member being banned from a press conference for asking pressing questions. Never heard of it. As far as I'm aware, it's never happened. Other people in media have said this as well. It don't happen. So if you are one of the people who think, which is a lot of fans that I see, if you are one of those people who think, oh, well, they're just scared they'll lose access, that may be true for some of these people, but it shouldn't be. I don't know why it would be, because it would be based in nothing. It would be based on nothing. So it don't make no sense.
Thurston has been at multiple WWE press conferences. Every single one of them, he's asked serious questions. He's asked about Vince in past conferences. In the Elimination Chamber one in Montreal, he asked Paul Levesque about Vince McMahon. And what happened to him? Nothing. So if he has the guts to be an adult and ask a real question and to not get punished for it, then why can't you? And if the answer is that's just not my lane, like you said, just don't be there. Brother, let's be real. Let's really rip the Band-Aid off. A lot of these dudes, Monty, that are hyped, that were bragging about getting a press pass, realistically, they're just marks flaunting their access to WWE, and they're happy they got a free ticket to the Rumble. And listen, if you want to be one of those people and you want to just celebrate that you got a free ticket to the Rumble, then just be a full-on mark. Why are you pretending? Just go there, fly to the show, watch the show, have your fun with your friends, and then get the fuck out of there. Without diluting a space that should be occupied by adults.
Yeah, and Thurston touched on this in his very well, better articulated tweet than anything I can say or read out. But maybe I'm just fucking insane, or just, I don't know, old school, lost, just not with the times, bro. But for me, at least, when you apply for that press pass or media access or whatever the fuck, it does come with some responsibility. And, 9 times out of 10, there won't be a huge issue hanging over a press conference where you need to really get the right answers that that the public really want to know, and press the right issues that need to be pressed. Most of the cases, it will be pretty easy for you in that regard, but that means you still have the responsibility. And if you are attending the scrum, especially on a week like this that has unfolded the way it has, you shouldn't be leave it to someone else. Or, oh no, the questions will get asked by Brandon and John Alba and Nick Hausman. Like, no, that should not be your mindset to it. If you can't accept that responsibility, that's what comes with being a part of media that gets the chance to ask these executives questions, the rare opportunity to ask these questions from the media on a week like this, just don't go, man. Just don't go. Just go to the next one if it's not, surrounded in controversy or something. Or if you are gonna go, please, genuinely, please, as a member of media, and I don't get to go to many press conferences, obviously, because I'm based in the UK, if you couldn't tell by my accent. So I did go to All In last year, and I'll probably go this year. Didn't have the WWE access for last year's events. Of course, we'll try and get them for this year as we get bigger and bigger and get more clout or whatever the fuck. Then maybe there's better chance of us getting that WWE media access. But it's not when and if we do get it, I'm not going to be up there softballing Triple H. I can guarantee you that from now. And it made me laugh because a lot of people like pot for me simply asking Soraya if she's gonna like defend the women's title and stuff like that, and it's like some media members are even scared to ask like questions at that level, like it really is just again being a part of wrestling media and knowing that this kind of it does come back, it does reflect on all of us, and I can say that wouldn't be me if I was there and all that sort of shit. I can say that until my face turns blue, but I wasn't there. I didn't have the opportunity to ask the question, and I'm just sat in my chair now on a live stream with Ibu of Wrestle Purists, just embarrassed of the way the media handled it last night, barring Nick Hausman, John Alba, Brandon Thurston, and Cam Hawkins. So shout out to them. But anyone else who asked the question, genuinely an embarrassment, and I can't stretch that enough. And I know I've seen a lot of people. Look, I'm not going to mention people by names, but I've seen a lot of people kind of like one person got piled on quite a lot, and there was a lot of people like defending her, using some of like the absolute weakest excuses of like why she shouldn't have asked about, why this person shouldn't have asked about this question, and etc. etc. But it's like there is really no excuse for it, and at the same time, none of those media members deserve to get singled out. And like, this person didn't ask the right questions, because it was definitely more than one. There was multiple people in that room, multiple that had the opportunity to ask the right questions that didn't take them. So this person did not deserve to be singled out and dogpiled on the timeline or anything. But at the same time, anybody who had the chance to ask Triple H a question about Vince and WWE last night and didn't take it is an absolute embarrassment. All of them, that person included. So
you want to hear something really funny, Monty? Because I had to look up what Steve Fall asked Cody Rhodes. Because not only did he dismiss a legitimate question that was asked before, which was essentially, what's your reaction to the Vince McMahon situation? And that's what Cody was asked. And Fall basically buried this by going, well, let's go to a nicer question here. He did that, and then he asked the most fucking moronic thing. Because you know what he asked, Monty? He said, he asked him if he was challenging Roman. Monty, how did the Rumble end? Cody pointed at Roman. You know the answer to this question. You're wasting air. You know the answer.
It's again embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. It's just embarrassing, man. That's all. That's as much as I can really say on it, to be honest. In terms of like my opinion in a few words or less, because I know I've been talking quite a lot on this show, but it's just embarrassing, man. And one thing I kind of want to point out, I know Nick Hausman, like especially in like the recent months and stuff, like whenever he asks or does anything in wrestling media, especially from like the Twitter side of things, like there's like a certain stigma, and he's a divisive character or whatnot. And because he asked Cody Rhodes, he was the first person to bring up the Vince McMahon and WWE stuff and the lawsuit at the media scrum. He was the first person to bring it up, but it was when Cody Rhodes was up there, and people asking, why would he ask Cody Rhodes? He shouldn't have asked Cody Rhodes. It was unfair that he asked Cody Rhodes, and da da da. All I'm saying is, as a member of media, it's like when you put your hand up at those press conferences, you don't know if that's going to be the only time you get to ask a question. So you need to make your question matter. You need to ask the most important question that you feel like needs to be answered in that moment. And there was a similar reaction when I believe it was Kevin from PWR. So shout out to him when he asked Tony Khan about the Chris Jericho thing, when Julia Hart was up there with him, and a lot of people were reacting to that like, he was taken away from Julia Hart's spotlight and Julia Hart's time to speak and stuff like that. And it was just like, you don't, when you get given that mic, regardless of who's up there, you don't know if that mic's going to come back round to you. And in many, many, many cases, it does not come back round to you. And unfortunately, that is a lesson I learned the hard way at All In. That was my first media scrum, and it's like Soraya was up there talking, and I had my chance to ask Soraya a question. I know quite a lot of people said it was a decent question to ask Soraya, but if I knew that would have been my only chance to ask a question, because those fucking media scrums at AEW are very long, if I knew that was my only chance to ask a question, I would have asked Tony something probably a bit more important. But I wasn't really aware, of course. Like I said, it was my first time. So then when Tony Khan was up there at the end taking questions, my arm was up that long with my hand up. It was hurting. It was aching. I had to swap arms and stuff. Like, I wanted to ask a question. I was desperate to ask a question, but the mic just didn't make its way back round to me. So that may have been the case for Nick Hausman last night, where, you know, obviously a lot of people, especially with the divisive reputation that he has, a lot of people would definitely be expecting him to ask anybody about the Vince and WWE allegations. So that was his one chance to ask a question, and he felt like that was the most important thing to ask at that time. And the fact that Cody was up there, and same with Kevin with the Julia Hart Tony Khan thing, it doesn't really matter who's up there at the time, you know, because again, it might be your only opportunity to ask a question when there's an important issue such as there has been this weekend. It needs to be asked about. So, you know, and yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to just bring up regarding kind of people wondering why talent, when talent are up there, these questions get asked. And from being a fellow media member, that's kind of the perspective I have on it, because you don't know it, Boo. Obviously, I know you've not been to a scrum, but like you'd think that you'd get more than one opportunity, especially at the AEW ones. So, you know, that's kind of where I fall on it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a week. It's been a long weekend, but it's been a very long weekend. But
Cody he got up the ropes and he pointed to Roman Reigns, and the camera panned to Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns held his belt up. The camera kept panning back and forth between Cody and Roman as Michael Cole screamed loudly, "Finish the story, Cody! What inning are we in now, Paul?" And this guy, Steve Fall, had the nerve to go, "Fuck that guy's question. Who are you facing at Mania, Cody? You are a stupid person. You're a useless and stupid person."
it's very unfortunate. But since we're talking about Cody, and since I just brought up the Nick Hausman thing, we'll get into Cody Rhodes' comments on the situation, which we've already highlighted. Were definitely, they weren't perfect, you know, because like I said, there is definitely not a lot of flawless, perfect answer in a situation like this. But his answer was definitely more thought out, felt more thoughtful and genuine than anything Triple H said. So Nick Hausman asked Cody Rhodes about his reaction to the Vince McMahon lawsuit / resignation, and what changes he thinks should be made to avoid things like this happening again. And also Hausman did mention that obviously Cody Rhodes has the perspective of an executive as well from his time in AEW. And of course he's the top babyface in the company, you know, he's the face of the company. So his reply was, "That's a great question. I know as far as the news is concerned, we were finding out reading it the same thing that you guys were reading, and you said a dark cloud, certainly. As far as TKO, Nick Khan and the board clearly took it very seriously, acted immediately, and looking at the future, I don't know the answer to that. And I think somewhere is a really basic tenet of just this crew more than ever from a roster standpoint is very family. I've never seen anything like this. Most of the time, wrestling locker rooms are fighting, talking trash about each other, making fun of each other, sandbagging each other in the ring, and all that nonsense. This crew is very team-based, and perhaps that's the ingredient, is everyone looking out for each other and being accountable. And I know for me, as a performer, I've been through dark periods in our industry before, and it might sound cheesy, but it's very reinforcing if you're in my position, that it's a time where, hey, we've got 50,000 people out there, I want to give them something else from this week, and that isn't just terrible situation, terrible news, and I think we were able to do that. Obviously, as more news comes out, we'll be seeing it just like you do." So that was Cody Rhodes, Ibu. Definitely not quite, again, not perfect, but definitely nowhere near as disappointing as Paul Levesque's answers.
No, he. What we learned is that Cody Rhodes is more media trained than Paul Levesque, and I thought that was as serviceable of a non-answer as you can give for somebody who's not culpable in the situation and has no power to actually affect on a business side what's going to happen here. For a talent, I think Cody did a pretty decent job with addressing this, and God bless him. God bless him. Cody Rhodes is a true top guy in more ways than one. When it comes to making the towns, when it comes to doing his job, when it comes to being over, when it comes to addressing serious situations, when it comes to make-a-wishes, this company, I don't even think they realize how invaluable he is. So, yeah, that's kind of my perspective on Cody Rhodes.
He's like you said, he's a very strong top guy to he's just kind of the quintessential top. I don't know. Like Cody's for me. I think I said this a few months ago, and I don't know if we might not have even been live, but I just think for WWE and the type of company they are with the platform they have and everything like that, I just think Cody Rhodes is genuinely like as close to a perfect babyface for them to be their top guy as you can get really in 2024. He's just I know a lot of people, a lot of things that like kind of the more, excuse the pun, purists kind of roll their eyes at regarding Cody Rhodes is the exact sort of things that make him so perfect for the role. Um, like the kids dressing up as the American Nightmare and stuff like that. He's all the little things like that, man. He's just very, he comes across very he comes across very, family friendly as a top baby face and just, a very good face to represent WWE. So yeah, man, Cody Rhodes, brother, Cody Rhodes, man. I can't lie, I did get kind of got fired up earlier. Now like kind of coming down. But yeah, you know, there's there's been all kinds of news, of course. Obviously, today the main focus was the covering the Vince McMahon resignation because we haven't like I said at the top of the show, we didn't fully cover the Vince McMahon thing. Like this is the first video on the channel that says Vince McMahon's resigned from WWE. So we wanted to make sure that we covered that with you guys. Triple H's comments, as you could tell, had quite a lot of things to say about that, as did Ibu. And now we're just gonna kind of hang out for a little bit. I don't know how much time you've got, Ibu, but we're just going to kind of chill out, hang out, take some questions, talk about random things. We're not going to do like a full-on Rumble review or a weekend review. We're just going to kind of loosely talk about things. And obviously, as many of you already know, Wrestle Purist Worldwide tomorrow, we're going to do like a proper Rumble review and we'll do our weekend recap and the more traditional show there. But this is more just, this is now where we're just live streaming now. You know what I mean, Ibu? So,
and you know what, we'll do this on air. Can you move over? Can I get the driver's seat real quick? Can I switch it over?
What do you mean? It depends because if you're gonna start, because
here's the deal.
There's a certain someone that you wanted to invite on, and it's not happening.
No, I didn't mean that. No.
If you mean steering the conversation topics, that's fine.
Yeah, no. I listen. When it comes to talking about nothing, I'm a monster. You know what I mean?
You are.
Back up very good. Side, these 6-hour marathons in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this is where we officially transition to the Wrestle Purist Sunday hangout with Backup Hangman. And like Monty just said, folks, feel free to ask us whatever you want to ask us because we're gonna hang out here for the next little bit. I think I'm gonna do 30 minutes, Monty. But
we got 30 minutes. We got a few super chats, so should we get started with those?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that and keep them coming, guys. Again, we're not going to in detail review the Rumble because that's for tomorrow. And just so you don't waste money on a super chat, I have not gotten to Collision yet. If you want to tell me about a match, feel free to. But when it comes to asking questions, I have not seen Collision, so that's kind of the deal with that. I will say that I'm excited to watch it because between Bryan Danielson and Yuji Nagata, and then the cage match. It looks pretty good.
Stack Show, bro. It was a good time, man. It was a good time. I had it on, then I caught up on some of it, but not all of it. So I've got like a loose idea of what happened and some of the big highlights. But yeah, it was a good show, Collision was, man. But anyway, Sapito, $4.99. Appreciate you. Don't want to focus on the negatives, bro. The negatives are about the well-being and safety of your own fucking employees.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely. Will Chisholm, $4. Appreciate you. Do y'all think TKO's PR team is telling Paul how to answer questions better? Absolutely not, because I think he would have done a better job than he did last night. And TKO, I know TKO is a new company, but Endeavor still employed Dana White after videos of him smacking his wife have surfaced and stuff. So, Endeavor isn't exactly like the moral perfect corporate company by any stretch of the imagination. But I do think if TKO were saying like, "Yo, this is your statement and don't detract from this," then I think he would have had a better performance than he did last night. Mass 84 199. Who's worse at pressers, Triple H or Dana White?
Dana White,
100%, bro. Like I know Triple H was embarrassing last night, and we just got into it. But like Dana White's
he fights people that just ask him difficult questions.
Yep. And
even if they're and he actually bans people from his things.
He's been known to like bury fighters and stuff like that as well. Like he's bad. I've said for a while, yeah, that like there's not many people in sports that I genuinely feel like a legitimate like hate towards. One of them's Antonio Conte, and if you're a Chelsea fan, I think you may be able to relate. And another one is Dana White, because I just think he's a genuine piece of shit. Like, and I know there's a lot of piece of shits that I don't hate, but I don't know. There's just something about Dana, his arrogance and stuff, that it's really just, I don't know. It just triggers me. Well, anyway, Cody Wills 199. Super chat's working again. Support Wrestle Purist. Love heart. Yeah, man, appreciate your support and would appreciate anyone else's support who wants to send some super chats in. So, yeah, man, keep them coming. Appreciate you, Cody. Uzora Hart, $10. Appreciate you as always. Paul may never be asked about Vince in a live public setting where he has to respond again, ever. Can't imagine being in that moment and asking, is it hard to have a stacked roster? Frustrating. Yeah, it's very frustrating. And as I've brought up, as Thurston brought up, as Ibu brought up, it's very limited chances we get to ask these questions, man, or people in media get a chance in a room to ask a WWE executive anything. So, it's when it unfolds in an embarrassing manner like it did last night, it's very frustrating, bro. Very frustrating. So, Jizzle, $2. Appreciate you. Shouts to Bailey, Marame, Lady Frost, and Deeb. All very good wrestlers. Hush, $4.99, appreciate you. Will Punk be full-time, or is he still part-time until Mania? As a big fan of his, it was a bit of a struggle to watch him. He needs more reps for sure.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Ibo?
Punk's going to be on a lot of the TVs coming up. It's not going to be as infrequent as it was from Survivor Series to the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted it to be still kind of novel until you got his legs underneath him and got to do the Rumble. But you can expect him on much more TVs now. Punk is he's the type of guy. I'll tell you this. Look, he however harsh you guys may think people can get on Punk when it comes to his performances on social media, just know that he is 10 times harsher on himself than anybody. And he's going to continue to do what he needs to do to tweak his approach to be the best version of himself. And regarding his performance, I can say this, even though I'll say more tomorrow. Regarding his performance, what I will say about Punk, even notwithstanding the fact that he clearly hurt himself, is that even as some of his physicality wanes, and it has apparently begun to do so over the last year, I want to say at least, he's still one of the smartest wrestlers I've ever seen. And because of that, I never really worry about Punk in ring. And I know that he'll figure out a way to get by and do what he needs to do to produce matches that are very good. So with that, yeah, I just trust Punk. He's a smart wrestler, you know.
He
So
is. He does a very, very high IQ when it comes to storytelling, just laying out matches without having to physically be a spectacular athlete. So you know, we'll see how it plays out for him. Obviously, all Punk fans will be hoping he kind of gets into a nice groove. Jay Stone, $10. Appreciate you, brother. Watching Triple H visibly unprepared was cringe. Agreed. How hard is it to come up with a default statement led by legally? I can't comment. Saxton tried to get him out of there at one point. Lol. Yeah, it was Again, no, we've already been over it front and back. I'm not trying to get triggered again. But yeah, he just wasn't good, man. He just was not good. It was not good. All right, Ibu, you got the wheel, bro. What we talking about? Talk to
um,
me. Talk to me.
what are we talking about? You know what? Let's start with Cody Rhodes because
Okay.
this piece of shit, Monty. This guy who, for the record, he skimps out on my pay. He pays me weeks late, and he just takes a percentage out like he's Paul Heyman. But he thinks I don't know about it. I just let it slide. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. Monty's been flinching for a month now, right?
No, we're not doing this because you are at times, and Ibu, we're friends and everything, and we talk a lot, and a lot. I'm in your corner as long as you don't embarrass me too much, And it's there's times, bro, where if you're unsure of something, because you have definitely been flinching, and we're not allowing you, and the chat will not allow you to get that off. But you have not been flinching. You have been flinching, but you have not just been flinching. You have been flinching at quite embarrassing levels. If I have to be very honest with my fellow co-host right now, quite embarrassing levels, genuinely embarrassing. Because he has these visible panic attacks through Twitter that we see unfold in real time. It's really quite worrying. It starts with one tweet, and then it unfolds into 5 or 6. And the most recent one was I think it was Friday. And it was guys, I'm making peace with the fact that we're getting Rock versus Roman. And then he started tweeting about Dwayne, and then he started tweeting about this, and it was just he was going through it for us all to see, He was just tweeting through it, I think the term is used. He was flinching, bro. He's been flinching the whole time. He started flinching when The Rock showed up at day one. He was flinching probably a little bit before then, to be perfectly honest with you guys. But you want to know who hasn't been flinching? You know who has stood 10 toes down, standing on business, made my prediction early, and even when it looked shaky, even when people were telling me yo, you're coping, yo, you're gone crazy, how can you still think that? And even our own audience, Ibu, people in the live chat, our own audience telling me that I'm coping and that I need to be real and stuff like that. I said, and this is well documented because I've made a point of having a strong stance on this situation because everyone else was telling me I was wrong. I've said on multiple occasions that Dwayne The Rock Johnson will not be wrestling Roman Reigns this side of WrestleMania. It's not happening. It's not happening at Elimination Chamber. It's not happening, obviously, on a weekly TV show. And it's not happening at WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns will be the main event of WrestleMania 40 Night 2. And guess what? Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes is definitely going to be the main event of WrestleMania 40 Night 2. And Dwayne The Rock Johnson is, without it being officially confirmed, is 99.9% probably not wrestling this side of WrestleMania. So I get a few things wrong when it comes to match results and stuff like that. But you see, when it comes to the big things, Ibu, I'm not a scoopster, but predictions, I don't really miss, bro. I just when it matters,
It's funny It's funny you say that. I get that to the mortal human eye. It looked like I was having a panic attack. But real people know what I was actually doing. I was never tripping about Cody Rhodes winning the Rumble and finishing the story.
Yes, you was, man.
Shut up.
I'm not letting you do this.
Fuck up.
On this great channel.
It's great.
which we have built on honesty,
Here's the thing,
bits,
though.
trolling. You know,
What I was doing, Monty, was real people would notice that I was using the energy of the universe and I was channeling it to reverse psychologize and affect the trajectory of the results. You feel me? It's reverse.
nobody hears you. Nobody feels you.
If you're
Nobody
not
understands you. Nobody can see what you're saying. Dude, bro,
juju, it's
evidence is out
reverse.
there. Evidence is out there, fam. People, someone said it in the chat. Someone said it in the chat. Where is it? Ibu, you've left the paper trail. That is true. That is definitely true. If anybody on Twitter would like to DM the WrestlePurist page now with links to Ibu's tweets, I will pull them up on the screen, but I am too lazy to go digging for them myself. But our DMs are open, I believe. So
Listen,
if you want to produce the paper trail, I will bring it up on screen.
Any evidence used against me is either AI or it was me using my juju. You know, I'm an African man. You know what I mean? We got some tricks. You know what I mean? Y'all don't know about it over on that side. We got certain tricks we do. You know, there's a phrase called lamin bahul, which directly translates to the actual translation of that is
This is
the tongue is bad.
This is toxic gaslighting.
It's not gaslighting. I'm trying
a misrepresentation of the facts.
You're
disgracing yourself right now, Ibu.
No, I'm not.
The one of the worst thing is, Ibu, you know, get a bit closer for this. You want the worst thing
Back
is,
away
Ibu,
from
of WrestlePurist. No. I'm getting in your face to tell you this. You want the worst thing is, there's no need for you to be lying like this. No one's asking you to, bro. Who's asking? Who's making you lie like this? You could have came on here. You could have had your Cody Rhodes victory lap, and you could have found some enjoyment in the fact that you was literally sweating, crying, and throwing up about the fact that Dwayne the Rock Johnson may be taking Cody Rhodes' WrestleMania main event away from him, and overcoming those odds and those doubts that you had to have such a big win of Cody Rhodes going back to back and winning 2 Royal Rumbles in a row to face Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania 40. You could have had that victory lap, but you didn't do it, Ibu. You decided to come on here and lie to me, to the people, to everyone. Why?
Anybody that's denying my process is racist against me and my culture. That's the truth. That's the truth. You are racist towards the Senegalese people. Because I am explaining to you my process, and you are dismissing this process as waffle, as lies. Have I ever lied to you guys? No, I'm an honest man.
Probably. There's probably multiple instances. You could have had a victory lap about how you was right about there's no MJF, no Sasha, and
so that's my second.
Was it Okada? Who was it? Okada?
Monty, I tweeted. I said, for the WWE fans that are excited about the Rumble, this wasn't me trying to ruin anyone's experience or spoil. I'm just trying to make sure y'all don't look crazy. I said there's no Sasha, there's no MJF, no Okada. All the people to varying degrees were speculated upon in terms of being at the Rumble. And it was one of those things where people were like, oh man, like, you know, because everybody's favorite nondescript scoop accounts were hinting towards these people. And the fact of the matter is they just weren't coming. And I was trying to make sure they don't look crazy. And in these tweets, Monty, I said, if you want to realistically get excited for somebody, and I'll be honest with you, Monty, here's where I lied. I worded this in a way where it didn't seem like a spoiler because I don't want people saying that I was spoiling them. But guess what, Monty? I knew damn fucking well that the following people were going to be there. And I had listed Andrade, Jade Cargill, and Naomi. And what do you fucking know? Andrade, Jade Cargill, and Naomi appeared last night. And you know what's the craziest part about this, Monty? Is that 465 people 465 people bookmarked the tweet. You know what that means. Them niggas were waiting to quote me. They were gonna jump me.
They were waiting, bro. They were waiting like hounds.
Fucking bloodhounds. And guess what, Monty? They couldn't hit me with anything because I was right. And when I called it out and I pointed out that you're not gonna get me, niggas started unbookmarking the tweet. I started checking, that number started dropping. 460, 458, 454. Bookmarking, nigga. Keep fucking unbookmarking. If you want to talk about someone that doesn't miss, it's not you. It's not Carmelo Hayes. It's Ebu of Wrestle Purist.
Not sure about
I'm
that.
going to announce right now. I'm going to announce right now. No more free scoops, nigga. We will set up a paywalled service to give you guys information, but until then, feel free to DM and cash at me. You know what I mean? Just DM me if you have a question. If you have a question about what's happening,
anyone wants to, bro, there's more than at this point, there's not more than a handful of people at WrestlePurists that talk to, talent from different companies, people in creatives and stuff like that, coaches and shit. So that if you want to cash up any of us, you can always cash. Always accepting cash ups.
Here's the thing, though. If y'all niggas want to know what's going on with AEW Creative, you know what I mean? If y'all niggas want to know what's going on in that Revolution card, y'all want to know the card order, y'all want to know the big angles, y'all want to know full spoilers going up until the summertime, hit me up. $40. Boom. Boom. You got it. You know what I mean?
A lot of people are saying like, everyone knew about like Andrade, Naomi, and whoever else. And it's like, yeah, a lot of people definitely not taken away, but a lot of people assumed and predicted that. But the difference is that like we actually knew. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's different to assume. It's like a lot of people assume Rey Mysterio will be back. Do you know what I mean? No one would have called you crazy for making that prediction last night, but he didn't. So and obviously there was always a chance that Andrade was debuted like as a like by himself. Do you know what I mean? And not in the Royal Rumble. So again, we did know about those. I wouldn't know how to kind of like report full on spoilers, so like it was something that I stayed out of this year with the Royal Rumble stuff. Just kind of Mike Johnson's like in his prime when it's Royal Rumble time and WrestleMania time. It's on PW Insider. It's definitely worth subscribing to their elite thing if you are like, I know some people are just flat out not willing to pay for any scoots and not even sign up to Select or Observer or anything. But if you are, person who's partial to spending a little money on scoots, PW Insider Select around WrestleMania seasons usually well worth the subscription because, as last night proved, Mike Johnson was putting in that work, brother. He found out loads of spoilers from Jordan Grace to Naomi and stuff like that, as in like fully knowing and getting it confirmed. We found out about Jordan Grace literally like 20 minutes before it was reported. Yeah, man, it's like Mike Johnson again, just Mike Johnson around Royal Rumble season. He's as good as it gets when it comes to Royal Rumble coverage, So
GN said that I said Tony Khan was working overtime to get CM Punk unsuspended ahead of All Out. I can tell you this, GN. It is a legitimate fact that Tony Khan was exhausting as many options as possible when it came to possibly retaining CM Punk's services before having to make this decision to ultimately fire him.
That's why it took a week, man, because it's like when you look at when the terms that CM Punk was brought back under when he came back to AEW after Brawl Out and stuff was basically like, in theory, CM Punk actually, because of the incident with Jack Perry at All In, CM Punk in theory should have been basically fired like on the spot, but he wasn't. And as we just mentioned, Tony Khan was looking at like, surely there's another way, surely there's another way, but
yes,
there wasn't, and he wouldn't have got much backing in that regard, and it would have been like he didn't. It's not exactly like it was a unanimous happy decision that he brought CM Punk back in the first place. Never mind if he would have done it again after how things played out, So yeah, Tony Khan definitely wasn't jumping at the chance to get rid of CM Punk as soon as he came up. So that was that. Glizzy King 499, appreciate you. Any word on who will replace Kevin Patrick on SmackDown for commentary? Still not heard anything, but I'm sure we'll find out pretty soon.
All I know is that it's not Michael Cole.
Big Hero Chris, $2. Appreciate you. Appreciate you again. Might you just cut promo with the hey man. That wasn't even a promo, bro. That was legitimate, you know. That was Ibu being told that what he needed to be told, you know. It's
Monty,
that's a
I've been
go on.
someone asked me today. I checked my Twitter and I got a DM inquiring about this, asking what scoops I can get with $3. What do you think is a $3 level scoop?
I'm sorry. I'm getting sent receipts.
Oh my God.
People have actually DM me. Yeah.
Man. I'll tell you what, to the individual that asked me, I can tell you if it's true or not that Malachi Black refuses to do jobs for $3. Oh man.
Well,
if you cash at me $3, if you DM, and I'll give you my cash tag, and you give me the $3, I'll tell you if Malachi Black turns down doing jobs or not.
dude, look at these flinching. Look at all the, you know, where how can I share my screen? Share screen, window. Make sure my DMs aren't open. And there it is. Alright, so here we go. Shout out to Andrew for sending the DMs.
What the fuck?
Iber of Wrestle Purists on the 27th of January, yesterday, saying, Roman Reigns, please put over Cody Rhodes. Look, what is wrong with you? Just do the right thing. Ibu, what are you doing? No, hold on. We need to go to the main. Making peace. There it is. Making peace with Roman versus Rock. You was reacting to tweets talking about Cody Rhodes having sadness in his eyes. Someone tweeted you saying, "Don't let IBs win," and you said, "It is what it is." Someone said, "What are you doing?" You said, "I'm making peace." So you're a liar, Ibu. There's definitely a chance that you could get some fines here. This post isn't because it's from someone you don't follow. That's weird.
I was gonna say for a second, I was like,
I think I follow both of these people. Anyway,
like, fucking mute me. Anyway,
it is what it is. Making peace. Look at flinching, literally flinching. Look at this. Look at this. Dan didn't even want to look at you praying, using the white guy praying to Donald Trump meme, you know. And Dan left a note saying he had me thinking Dwayne was there, so I am snitching him out. And you have every right to do that, Dan. So thank you for bringing this evidence to light. Alright, Ibu has been exposed. Hush 199. Big Rome can still do the funniest thing ever.
He'd be a really bad person if he did it. He'd be a really bad person.
Hush 199, appreciate it. Is it true, Jason? Is it true Jason Jordan's boozer?
Maybe
I don't know.
he is not. Who knows?
I don't know. Anyway, Bob the Builder, $5 Canadian. Steve Fall kind of puts a bad reputation for wrestling media as Mark Shake My Head. Here's a history of this. He asked Priest if Bad Bunny was next for him. I mean, he was also the person who asked the infamous Taylor Swift question as well. So
didn't he ask John Cena if he could touch him?
Again, I don't. This isn't even really what I want to be doing, and because it's like I said, every person in that room who had the opportunity to ask a question is an embarrassment. And we've already mentioned Steve Fall by name a couple of times, which, I was kind of avoiding from doing, but the live chat already did it. He brought him up as, for the nicer question, embarrassment that he came up with.
Monty, with both of us, we're not adversarial and antagonistic towards media members. We try not to be. Try not to be. Wrestle Purists as a whole. Wrestle Purists tries not to just have an antagonistic or adversarial relationship with other members of the media. However, scrutiny and criticism is absolutely fair in a like this. Yeah. That's the bottom line. And
it's the best way of putting it.
Yeah, that's just the bottom line.
Berkey, 199, appreciate you as always. Sad to see EB turn into low tier god.
Do you know who that is? You know who LTG is, Monty?
No.
Oh, I'm gonna have to send you a clip of him one day.
I'm old, bro.
He's amazing.
Bro, I used to like run events at like a hot nightclub, you know, and like I
You would
was,
fuck
you
with.
know, like, I was doing my thing. You get me, like, and this was only a couple of years ago. And now like, I'm only 26, and it's like I feel like 10 years older than that person. Like I'm not up to date with music and shit, you
Oh,
know.
me too.
Like I'm when it comes to like being up to date with like the latest rap music and what rappers are hot now and who's and all that shit, bro. Like, I'm washed, like
bro.
so washed, bro.
Bro,
Like,
think about
and
this.
it literally used to be a big part of my job. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to be booking some shitty DJs in it, you know. But,
You know what I realized, though, Monty? For me, it's like I was in certain situations that kept me up to date. That now that I'm not there and people don't do it for me, I don't realize that I'm behind. Like I'll mention something to my brother. My brother like, bro, he's not even like hot out here like that no more. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, bro. Who the fuck is talking about Rich the Kid? And I'm like laughing or something. You know. And I'm older than you, but like, fucking, bro, he was what 22. He's 22. And he makes me feel old as shit because of like when you know what it is also? He knows all the big Twitch people. I don't know these fucking Twitch streamers.
yeah, that's one as well. Where it's
I don't
like,
know
who
these.
are all these streamers? I know the obvious. Like, obviously, I know who KSI is and Logan Paul and
Oh, I was.
like I know who Aiden Ross is, Aiden Ross. You
Mhm.
know, like, I know who they are. I've never watched an Aiden Ross video, like, but I used to watch KSI when I was like in school. I remember when KSI had 10K subscribers, bro. Like that's how far back I go with KSI.
He's been around that long, bro.
Bro, KSI's been around for yeah, like, easily over a decade. I'd say
bro,
easy.
bro, I learned who Kai Cenat and Speed were like 4 months ago from my brother.
I think a lot of people did. Like they had huge years in terms of like growing their channels
Abilities.
and stuff. Yeah, it's like I can't say I've known about Kai and Speed for years or anything like that, but
Uh,
they're definitely some of the biggest streamers in the world right now. So anyway,
Yo, these comments, Monty, we got to read these comments now since we're just hanging out. This is so funny. Someone said Monty's still banging Rockefeller Records. Me too. And then someone said you listening to modern Jay-Z. Yes, I do. I maintain that Jay-Z never fell off, but you know,
yeah, I love Jay, bro.
he's not. He hinted at dropping this year, so we'll see how that goes. I might have to make rap
Going
purists.
platinum again, baby. Anyway, Will Chisholm, $5. Appreciate it. With Jordan Grace in the Rumble, is WWE working with TNA? If so, will it be main roster or NXT? Well, I guess the best I can give you is what Andrew Zarian said on Twitter. He said he reached out to WWE and said, I think it was Zarian, and basically WWE said there's no extra plans as of right now. So,
It's weird because he said that's what he said, which like would seem realistic, but Jordan contradicted that twice, both last night and then today on two different socials on Twitter and Instagram. She basically was like, "That's not the last you'll see of me," and then like another one, she was like, "I'll see y'all again" or something, and it was like, okay. And then Shane Helms quoted one of them and was just like, "Bring Gresham with you next time," which was probably a joke. That one, which was kind of amusing. But yeah, like Monty on Twitter and then on Instagram, she basically just like tagging WWE and just like, "I'll see y'all again." Like, this is not the last you'll see of TNA. So,
we'll see. Maybe she'll be in the Rumble again.
what do
Yeah.
you what do you think? Because Kyrie and Oscar are now the women's tag team champions,
Yeah.
and like the best shot these fucking dead champions are gonna have at like having some level of life and interest. What's the biggest possible match that they could have at WrestleMania? Because to me, it would have to be them versus like Bianca and Jade / Naomi. But you can't pass up on Bianca versus Jade to me. So let's say Bianca and Jade are out of the picture now, and we know Becky's going to be occupied with Rhea Ripley. Who do you throw at Kyrie and Asuka then? And I asked my timeline this Monty, and the best answer I got that I actually really liked was Team TNA versus them, Naomi and Jordan Grace.
That would be really cool, yeah.
That'd
That
be
would be
really
really cool. Yeah. I'm on board with that. 100%. Love all women involved. You know. Mazfan 84 199 appreciate it. Ibu, Doc Rivers is a bigger bag getter than Muto. Even I know about this one.
Bro, Monty, Doc Rivers.
Staying in the game. You know,
He won a championship.
another big contract, baby.
That's how insane this is. He won a championship. He won a championship with the Boston Celtics in 2008. They then made it back to the finals in 2010 and lost. And then for those next few years with that same core unit of players, failed to advance back to the finals. Doc eventually moves on to go coach the Los Angeles Clippers. Very talented team. Doc has the clout of winning 08's championship. The Clippers never fucking make it past the second round in the 2010s. Doc Rivers goes on to coach the Philadelphia 76ers. Once again, good team, considered a championship level team, losing the second round every fucking year. Doc at this point by basketball fans is seen as an overrated fraud who can't win the big one. And yet teams, what happens about these teams, when teams feel like they're championship level, they go, oh, we need Doc. Doc is what's going to get us. And it never works. And then after the Philadelphia run, it was like, all right, this dude's just fucking done. We figured out that he's done. And he was a commentator this year, Monty. He was a commentator. And halfway through this year on commentary, the Milwaukee Bucks, who are the number 2 team in the East, by the way, they fire their coach. And it was like, what's going on here? And they're like, we want Doc Rivers. And everyone's like, what? Like, what the what?
Funny sport. But, you know, Doc Rivers. As Mavswan says, he's a big bag getter, you know. So, shout out Doc Rivers.
Always the highest paid coach in the league. It's like, what the fuck?
Cody Wills 199 appreciate it. If WWE and TNA are working together, Tom Phillips for SmackDown. I don't think that's how promotional partnerships work, you know.
That would be funny and pop me.
Caden Lee 199, the wrestling nightclub looks stinky. I mean, many are saying this. The wrestling nightclub, if those of you don't know, it was something, I think it went viral on TikTok or something a few weeks ago. Then WWE's former Aaliyah was booked to DJ at one of the events this past weekend, and obviously there was a few clips. And the clip that I saw, you know, Aaliyah looks like she's having a good time in the DJ booth and shit. But like, you know, as again to touch on my previous nightlife career, it's like I noticed ratios, and I know it was obvious in this video that there was like no women in it, but like I noticed ratios like that from like video recording, and it's like, bro, there's like however many people visible on screen, and there's like one female like in the distance in the background, and it's just like Jesus Christ. But yeah, the wrestling nightclub, people, when you go in,
never.
I don't 100% believe you. Andrew 199. Sorry, Ibu, you had to get exposed. You had me scared. Very well said. Horse 199 appreciate how much on who is AEW bound or WWE bound. Obviously, you know, when we start the $150 a month Patreon WrestlePurist Plus page, we'll have all the scoops, you know. So sit tight, people. William Rob, excuse me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, Junior, $2. Dave confirmed Brock was to work Dom and Gunther.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but that's something that we didn't even really touch on, bro. Like, we didn't touch on it, obviously, a WWE talent is mentioned in the Vince McMahon lawsuit of, you know, being, I guess, involved in some way in Janelle Grant basically being used as like a negotiation tactic for Vince to essentially basically trying to pimp her out to Brock as part of the negotiations for Brock's new contract. And the lawsuit doesn't name Brock. I believe it says a former UFC champion and top WWE star. But the Wall Street Journal independently did say that is being said to be Brock Lesnar. And of course, from the description in the lawsuit, it's very limited options outside of Brock Lesnar who he could be. So, and obviously that's a very dark cloud hanging over Brock Lesnar, and he was. Well, reportedly, he was pulled from the Rumble. He was meant to be coming in the Rumble, and then it was reported that he will not be part of the Rumble, and it was maybe because of his implication in this lawsuit. And then, it was reported that this was another spoiler by Mike Johnson. Man, he was an animal yesterday. um, he basically reported that Braun Breaker is essentially taking Brock Lesnar's spot, and that's basically what he did. Judging from what we saw, the presentation and the way that Braun Breaker came in and got eliminations and stuff, definitely felt like it wouldn't have felt out of place being Brock Lesnar's spot. So, yeah, man, it created a great opportunity for Braun Breaker, which we was really happy to see. Breaker came in at like number 20, did a lot of power spots and stuff like that, and just looked like a beast out there, man. And then it was reported the day after that, as this super chat says, Dave basically said that Braun Breaker basically replaced Brock. All the spots Brock was going to do, eliminated who Brock was meant to eliminate, and got eliminated by who Brock was meant to get eliminated by. Who this super chat says Dave's confirmed. Brock was going to work Dominic Mysterio, who eliminated Braun Breaker, and I'm assuming Gunther at WrestleMania. So obviously, Brock Lesnar in any sort of match right now is not really something I'm jumping at, because this situation needs to, we need some clarity on this situation, how they're going to progress forward, and who's going to be remaining with the company, who's going to be disciplined, who's done what. We don't know who's guilty of what at this point. So as more information comes out, maybe I will be a bit more open to seeing Brock wrestle again. But at the moment, I'm in no rush.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah. I don't know why I just blanked out there. I was like, yeah. Here's the thing. They have to do the due diligence and come to a conclusion on there, but it's looking less and less likely that we're going to see Brock anytime soon, if not ever. And so, with that being the case, and I'm going to ask this to Joe Holbert later. What do you want to see Gunther do at WrestleMania? Because it's looking like his options are Braun Breaker, Chad Gable, Sheamus, who's actively calling him out, but he may just be shooting his own angle. Maybe Andrade.
Yeah, so what I'm seeing here is a post wrestling report, which was, I'm assuming, John Pollock, but that's just an assumption. Post wrestling, anyway. Brock Lesnar was set to work with Dominic Mysterio at Elimination Chamber. So, yeah, obviously, Dom eliminated Braun, so maybe Braun gets that spot. I don't know. Maybe to bring Braun in, as you said, Braun's going to be hunting down the Judgment Day. Maybe tomorrow at Raw. So, maybe he's the next. Maybe that's how they get him over. That's how they introduce him big to the main roster audience. That he just kind of runs over the top heel faction. But, yeah, we're happy to see Braun break, although it did come at unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah. Wait, what? I'm sorry. What did you say?
Get off your phone, bro. Said it's good to see Braun Breaker, even though it was in negative circumstances.
Right. I thought I heard that right, and I misheard, and I was like, "Wait, what's unfortunate about Braun?" Yeah, dude, it's awesome. Braun Breaker, as you know, man, we've been pushing for this guy to get called up for years now, right? And I'll say this: 2020, his rookie year, he was awesome, right? His second year was looking kind of shaky, and in that third year, him doing this kind of badass Braun Breaker deal with the heel gimmick and the Dominican beard, he's really found himself fully as a performer, and as an athlete, he's so explosive. He's just fucking staggeringly like fast, right? And yeah, man, it's just good to see him. He was wrecking havoc. He's one of the highlights of the entire show. Jade Cargill.
Was it Michael Cole or Graves or someone who was on commentary. It was like, Bron Breaker's been recorded hitting 23 miles per hour when he comes off the ropes, and it was just like, this is wrestling.
Pat McAfee never seen Bron Breakker before, and he's hitting the ropes. He was like, whoa, whoa. He was like, this guy's a beast, and he's fucking blitzing around the place. Yeah, man, Bron's tremendous. I'm happy he's finally called up. He did an exclusive interview with WWE after the show where he broke kayfabe and got emotional, and he was just kind of like, yeah, man, I'm just really happy to show that I belong on the main stage, on the main roster, and I'm really happy. And he said that like his focus is on the Judgment Day, and that he's gonna target Judgment Day, and he's gonna go for every member of the Judgment Day. So we'll see how that goes. But listen, I'll happily take Judgment Day segments where it's Bron Breakker, hunting down Dominic and spearing him through barricades, over Judgment Day segments where they're doing comedy with The Miz and R-Truth. So if we pivot there, I will take that. And yeah, man. Again, I'm just curious what they do with Gunther now, because Brock was gonna Gunther. And if Brock doesn't get that match, do they do Braun, or do they go, fuck it, we'll do Gunther versus Gable or Gunther versus Sheamus? Two options that are absolutely available if they want to still do it. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Gunther already broke the record. He broke the record for the IC title back in fucking September, and no one's gonna pass him, I don't think. So at this point, it's like candy, I almost feel like he's only holding this belt at this point until they're ready to take the main one off Seth. So we'll see what happens there. I actually do think Seth Rollins is the person I do think Gunther's the one that's going to beat Seth for the World Heavyweight Championship.
All right. So Dave Meltzer via the F4W Daily Update, he writes that there was a number of changes made for Mania in the last few days. The way it was explained to me is that it involves the creative plans for Brock Lesnar and the domino effect when the decision was made at the last minute to not have Lesnar on the show due to the lawsuit. Lesnar's planned creative last night was filled by Bron Breakker. Pretty much his point of entry, eliminations, and how he was eliminated were all planned for Lesnar. The Lesnar creative, which at this point he's not going to be with unless they decide they would bring him back, was Lesnar versus Dominic Mysterio in Australia and Lesnar versus Gunther at WrestleMania. Whether Bron Breakker gets those matches is not clear yet. So that's what Dave is reporting in the Daily Update. So we'll see. And Dave is also obviously in that part of his Daily Update does flat out say that he was removed due to the allegation. So that is no longer just a fan assumption, that has actually been reported. It doesn't mean it's factual, but reportedly.
And nobody asked Triple H about this at the press conference.
Yeah, Brock wasn't even brought up, bro. Crazy.
Why was Brock not at the thing? He would have to.
Crazy.
And it'd put him in a position where he'd have to acknowledge the situation and be like, well, Brock was implicated in the Wall Street Journal report. Oh, so you read it?
Yeah, but it's like he wouldn't even done that, bro. He would have took the ultimate cop out answer of just like, Brock Lesnar was never announced or scheduled,
No, I think he'd say I can't comment.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. But yeah, last chance for super chats, people, because we are wrapping up. We've got 6, so you've got a couple minutes to get them in at least whilst we read these ones out. So last chance, people, get those super chats in, and we're gonna wrap it up. Bro, 499, appreciate it. Big Gun, he's not really in a ladder match at Mania, right? Not anything I've heard.
They may do a multi-person ladder match at WrestleMania, not for Gunther. And I think it'd be disgraceful to waste his abilities.
Yeah, it's not going to come from that.
That's
not really happening, to answer your question.
Yeah, he would say no. By the way, like genuinely, he would say no.
It would vacate. Will Chisholm, $5, appreciate it. Does Julia have heat with Stardom? With them pulling her from the Wendy site, from the website. Wendy site. I know, but like, come on, Will. Pulling her from the Windy City show. If that's the case, she should have put over Megan. Well, her contract's up in March, bro. But her contract is up in March, so anything that she would have done going past that would be her doing them a favor, really. Even more so than like, because Okada's staying past past the next few days with New Japan, even though his contract's up on the 31st, which is what Tuesday.
Megan coming back to AEW,
No,
so
Wednesday. Yeah, 31st is Wednesday. So Okada's New Japan contract is up on Wednesday, but he's got some dates in Feb. And obviously he's just doing those. But like the junior one's interesting because it goes further than just like a few days after your contract. You know, like it's like
I
a contract's up in March, then the Windy City Riots in like April. You know, so it's like
I
you know.
I'd like to think, Monty. I would like to think that she's still going to drop the championship rather than vacate it. I would hope so. Um, and regarding Megan Bain, like she can't win that belt because she's going back to AEW.
Yeah, she's expecting. I think. Yeah, it's been reported already, but yeah, Megan Bain is expected back at AEW pretty much imminently. So keep an eye out for that. But does Julia have heat with Stardom? Not that we know of. Um, Hush 4.99 appreciate. Do y'all think Brock is done? I feel like the severity his return will have so much pushback and backlash. Once in a lifetime talent turned to a true piece of shit. Obviously, it depends on how everything plays out. But as of right now, it's not looking very promising for him at all. Especially if reports believe that he's off Mania, and obviously he was off Royal Rumble yesterday. So it's not shaping up good. Me and Ibu had this conversation in private a few weeks ago, but I do think there is a real possibility that like, this is like the end of Brock's, career. So, because obviously it's not like he's in his physical prime or anything. Like if Brock retired tomorrow, regardless of these allegations, I don't think anybody would be like stunned, shocked, and amazed. I
You know,
think.
I'll tell you this: if they could get away with it without pushback, it wouldn't shock me if Hunter tried to just let Brock in just to do that job to Gunther and then get him and then phase him out of the company. It would not shock me if he could get away with it. They'd have to like look around. He'd absolutely be like, all right, let this die down. We'll bring him back for Mania. He does the job to Gunther, and then he's just out of here. I could absolutely see him like from just a promoter standpoint, like trying to get that off.
Losing fight 199, appreciate you. First WrestleMania without part timers wrestling besides Roman.
Good.
Well, it depends on what you class as a part timer. It's like CM Punk, Roman Reigns. So I don't think you could really get that off. Um, we'll see. And obviously, the WrestleMania card is far from being complete. We've got 2 cards for 2 nights of shows, so who knows how it will play out. Wheelchairs and $5 appreciate you. Bring in someone from All Japan to face Comfort Mania, bro. They're not going to do that. Like
They're not gonna.
I understand the dream, brother, but come on, be real.
So here's the thing: they won't do that, but like could. And I know Gunther has some visa issues actually, where it affects his travel. Because I was gonna say, if that wasn't the case, can you send Gunther during February to All Japan? Could
It's
you
not happening.
imagine?
It's not happening, bro. It's
Could
like
you
it's
imagine Gunther?
unfathomable to me at this
Could you
juncture.
imagine Gunther versus Kento Miyahara?
No, this one, absolutely tremendous. Like I said,
In
I
front of
understand the dream. I understand. I can see. Well, I can't see it, but I can pretend. And it sounds tremendous, but be real. Right. TF £4.99. Appreciate you, brother. For me, I'd have Sheamus take the Intercontinental belt. I've gone for Mania, and then have gone for beat Seth for the World Heavyweight Championship in Germany at Bash in Berlin. Perfect outcome in my opinion. Sheamus taking the belt I've gone for. I'm not mad at. I'm not 100%. I'm not sure if it's optimal to be honest. But I'm not mad at it either, and it would be a tremendous match. I'm pretty certain, as we've already seen them have. Gone for beating Seth Rollins for the big one. Well, yeah, the big one. It's a world title for the big one at Germany. Yeah, that seems like a really good opportunity to do that with Gunther. So yeah, man, World Heavyweight Champion Gunther this year seems like a lock, but
what Gunther winning the World Heavyweight Championship?
yep,
Oh yeah, 100%. This is gonna be.
seems
This is.
yeah,
I was told that this is. Remember Monty how last year was Judgment Day's like year to take over Monday Night Raw and stuff, and like they really became the top stable on the show. I
yeah.
was told that this year is the same for Imperium.
Oh yeah. I've been asking for this for about 6 months.
Yeah, like remember Monty how like that summer period, like it really turned into like every Raw, it's like Judgment Day's in the ring, and they're like, "We run WWE" and all that shit. Like I was told literally like Imperium's gonna be in that role.
Yeah, man, good stuff. Aga's channel, $4.99. Appreciate it, bro. Personally, think Chad Gable's the perfect opponent for Gunther. Also, Ibu, much respect for pushing Gable. I see your tweets. I respect it. Yeah, Chad Gable versus Gunther with Gable, like, David and Goliath. Call it whatever you want, Yeah, man. I think it could be a very, very good story, and a very, very just the match itself could be like borderline pornographic, to be honest.
Man,
But like,
think about what these niggas did in 13 minutes in that third match.
he's the perfect opponent for Gunther in a similar way that I think like a young Tyler Bate was. Like I know they
Yeah,
are different, but in terms of just being like fighting from underneath, good baby face to get behind with some good charisma, and again he's just good to get behind. That can do the power spots and be impressive and do the things to take down the big man. And Gunther then plays into that by being this dominant, domineering presence that just looks unbeatable. Like it makes for perfect matches, and Gunther's had quite a few. Call them perfect, call them 5 stars, call them whatever. But Gunther's resume is ridiculous, man. And how old's Gunther?
like 30,
Anyone know?
34, 35.
Because if Gunther's around like full time, because as we've just been talking about, it is very fair to suspect that Gunther's going to win his like first major world title this year. If he's got like another what? And let me find his age. He's 36, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If he can go till 42 at like an elite level, you know, not necessarily the level he's at now and the levels he's been at, because he genuinely is like ridiculous in ring, like one of the best I've ever seen. Genuinely. Um, if he can maintain like a world class top tier level, winning world championships for like the next 4, 5, 6 years, his all time case becomes like very strong, you know. Um,
Yes.
He's that good, bro. Like the resume speaks for itself, man. Whether it's the PWG and all the other indie stuff and the countless classics and stuff like that he had on the indies, he's
I
got
think,
that. He's got that bag. His track record in
uh,
NXT is phenomenal,
and,
and now he's doing it on the main roster as well. He genuinely is one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen, bro.
and
Like, he's
think
amazing.
about this. Think about this. These WWE shows where they're overseas, right? And instead of a 30-minute Roman main event, you get a 30-minute Gunther title match in big venues.
Listen, oh yeah, I
Do
know
you do you?
a
And
lot
then
of
I'm
our
gonna stop
listeners.
you again. I'm gonna stop you again. This company likes to do long title reigns. Imagine a year and a half to 2 years.
Especially with heels.
And so think about that. Think about Gunther main events. Do you realize how much padding of his legacy that'll do? Especially since he's not a part-time and he'll do every one of them. They're gonna just throw a whole horde of guys at him month by month by month.
Comfort.
Maybe 1 month. Listen, think about this. Even when you go to the mid card, even at like a fast lane in Indianapolis in fucking September, when they're like, all right, let's just give Ricochet a fake push and heat him up, right? Do you realize that Ricochet and Gunther 26 minutes on a pay-per-view is going to be fucking glorious? They could heat up Ciampa again and throw him at him. They throw Chad Gable at him, a Braun Breaker, Cody Rhodes, whoever the fuck you want to name, Sheamus, Pete Dunne, the Bruiserweight. His legacy is going to be so fucking stamped. He's already one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I said it. One of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Kobashi's best title reign was his GHC championship run from 2003 to 2005, Monty, with famous title defenses against Jun Akiyama and Yuji Nagata and Kensuke Sasaki, right? Gunther can absolutely pass that. I know that sounds insane. I think the ceiling on a Gunther world title run, again, on pay-per-views where he'll be in big venues, the ceiling is better than Kenta Kobashi with the GHC championship.
He's to speak to like Gunther's. You mentioned like Triple H likes doing long title reigns, especially with heels, as I mentioned. It's like, and then you throw in the fact that like, bro, it's Gunther. Gunther don't have title reigns. He has title eras. Like he.
EWG, the UK
Yeah,
Indies.
the NXT UK belt, like even in WWE, like the NXT UK belt, bro. How long did he hold that thing? Like 500 days or something.
Bro,
Um, and
that
what a reign that was. Like my God, you know. Um, and now obviously the Intercontinental title, longest reigning champion in the history of the belt, which has been around for decades. Um, Again, he don't just have a couple month reigns. He has like eras of the title. He's very special, very 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 special, and I'm sure he's going to continue to prove it over the next few years.
why don't you just think about this? Live events, as they like to call them, where your title matches are a Cody defense and a Gunther defense. That's 2 4-star-ish matches every show. Do you know how valuable that is?
You see, bro, it's crazy. And again, like I know a lot of our audience know that I'm not like jumping up and down at Seth Rollins match graphics and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do respect him as a worker and as a wrestler. To be honest, like I'm not someone who would call him like flat out terrible or anything. But bro, a
Gunther,
Seth Rollins pay per view world title defense and a Gunther pay per view world title main event is very different things.
especially, I feel like with Gunther, right? I feel like even when he wrestles on TV, it's a treat, right? Because it really feels like
Yes.
treat. I get to watch Gunther, right? No matter how long they go, Gunther's Raw matches go anywhere from like 8 to like 16 minutes. They always feel like I wish I got even more of that. And I'm not even one of these fucking match time fucking freaks who's like, oh, long matches equals good. But with him, I feel like, there was so much more to explore. It's why Gable Gunther 4 is so alluring, Monty. The first one was a 5-minute challenge. The second one went to a no contest and it was glorious. It was like maybe 12 minutes. The third one was like 16 minutes. And we still felt like they didn't explore the full capabilities of what they can do. That's why like the idea of 26 minutes on a PLE, Gable Gunther is amazing. You know what I mean? Where they can really, really explore the way Okada will just take his time and do his thing. The things that Gunther does to fill time in a wrestling match, it's almost always like substantial. It's
Oh
even if
yeah,
it's like a little
definitely.
thing. You know what I mean? The
You don't
details.
you don't feel time.
No,
He
his heat segments are.
he wrestles, brother.
Do you remember his 20? It's like 25-minute. Do you remember the Ricochet match in Chicago, December 2022?
Oh, where he just beat the shit out of him.
In that match, Monty, like it was like a 3 to 4 segment match. Ricochet gets like little to nothing until the last segment.
Yeah.
And the match was already like 4 stars before the last segment. And it was just heat segments. It was just Gunther heat.
Hey man. He's an animal. Different beast, but if you can't tell, big fans of Gunther here.
Oh,
Hush 199. Any scoops on whose extended contracts AEW WWE? Not that we can give away as of right now. GN £2, appreciate you. They've planted the seeds for Gunther versus Cody later. You probably have done that from over a year ago now in that first Rumble Cody was in. Boris £2, appreciate you. Favorite song WWE Aggression album Method Man question mark. Yeah, man, we'll go with that just to save time as we're wrapping up. Andy, 100 rupees, appreciate it. Ibu, I fear they'll foist us and Roman wins again. They're building Orton, Aldis, Rock, Solo, and the Hogan finger looms. They're too lazy to do something new.
none of those programs need the championship.
Aldis, Rock.
Also,
Bro,
Roman
sweating over
job.
potential Reigns opponents being built up and putting like Aldis is like, bro, you actively like look. If this super chat at least, and our good friend Andy comes across that you're like almost doing an Ibu where you're like looking for reasons why it can't happen, you know. So, bro, chill
Oh my
out,
god!
enjoy this. Cody Rhodes has just won the Royal Rumble, you know.
I just
Enjoy
remembered
this, drink it
that
in, you know.
that Ilya Dragunov is going to get drafted this year.
Hey man, someone just says bro for 199. Dragunov Gunther on the main roster pay per view will change lives. Very, very possible. Very possible that
depending on
does
how
indeed
depending on how
change some young lives.
depending on how early they get to Gunther's title win, which unfortunately probably won't be until around the summer. Gunther will have a wrestler of the year candidacy this year, I believe.
It's just popped, man. So I was like, bro, all this is a future Cody opponent. Hey man,
Probably.
that's
Genuinely,
that's some PLE business right there, brother.
that sounds like a
Joe Holbrook
jewel match.
Promotions.
That sounds like a crown jewel payback match. You know, like
Hush 199 appreciate. Does Triple H / Regal rate Gunther as the best on the roster right now? Regal
yes.
probably does. I think Triple H a big fan of Mr. Cody Rhodes, you know. Big fan. Big fan of Mr. Cody Rhodes. But they all love Gunther, bro. Even the doubters at first when he first came out to the main roster, which always happens. Like, he will speak to this as well. Like, bro, it doesn't matter if fucking God himself got got called up to the main roster. Yeah, there'll be one or two producers that'll be like, "Oh, I don't know, brother." You know, like it's just the way they are over there. Hush 199. Hot take. I wouldn't mind Gunther beating Roman's record. Jesus.
I'm gonna say no only because he's more active than Roman. He's gonna be on every TV of every week, right? And so because of that, but I'll tell you what, just let him wrestle, bro. Let's get back to
Gunther getting the 1500-day reign.
no, they can't do better. Realistically, you would have to go about a year, you know. But still,
Yeah, especially with the way Triple H books, it feels like you'd have to have at least a year because there's just so much you can. Bro, he had like a 4-star match with the Miz. Like,
yes, a sincere 4-star match with Miz on a December Raw.
Boris £2 was a Monty Club night like Tropicana. A Monty Club night is something that has never been referred to. You know, I worked at good clubs, man. So I'm actually quite proud of my run in the nightlife industry, but it wasn't for me, people, because I love the graps so much, and here I am.
Think what Gunther got out of Bronson Reed, bro. Like,
Yeah, it's really like the names go on and on. Like, there's ones in NXT as well, like especially towards the end when they were like phasing him out of NXT.
mm-hmm. Nobody
It's
talks about it. The Roddy match was fucking gas.
oh
The
oh.
Roddy match was fucking gas.
Anyway, before I make any more weird noises because of Roderick Strong and Gunther,
I might rewatch that tonight.
we're gonna wrap this up, people. So I appreciate all the super chats. Appreciate you guys for being patient with my long triggered rants earlier, especially about the media scrum and stuff. Yeah, man, we've had a good time. We've been hanging out, coming up to 2 hours 30 minutes, so it's definitely not been a short one. But
I will be giving you a
I've had a good
dissertation
time.
on Yuji Nagata, Blue Justice, tomorrow on
Beautiful,
WrestleMania.
beautiful. Well, look at the things that we give you to look forward to, people. And yeah, man, Nancy Bruce.
He's
Well,
not just a nice old man wrestler. He's not just a good veteran hand in the industry. He's not just a guy who was a well-respected person with a nice career in New Japan. He is one of the greatest wrestlers I have ever seen, with one of the best careers I have ever seen.
yeah, he's a different beast. So just really, really, really quickly as I'm finishing up, it's like you said it quite well there. Where he's not just like a nice, old guy wrestler, like that you pop for because there's a charm to it, and and it's like I really like Suzuki as well. And I'm not saying Suzuki is this at all either. But there's levels. Like when it comes to in ring, like Suzuki, I don't think he can like, even talk to Nagata, bro. Like
Mon-
so.
Mon- peak Monty, peak Prime Nagata in like.
Yeah, it's a different animal, bro. You know. But yeah, all right. Wrapping up. Um, Thanks for watching, people. Again, thanks for yeah, those of you who watched on Thursday as well, when all the Vince news was first coming out, and we kind of did struggle to like deal with how to approach it and stuff. And I know I was kind of umming and ahhing a bit because, again, kind of was unsure about the approach to take. This with like more of the facts being able to kind of settle in and sit with it for a minute and seeing like talent reactions via the PW Insider report and spokesperson statements and Triple H commenting on it at the scrum. Obviously, there was a lot more for us to kind of get in and pick apart, you know. So we've covered it now. Obviously, it'll be a big thing that we continue to cover because, again, one of the biggest stories in the history of wrestling, to be quite frank. So we're gonna keep covering it, of course, and we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully, it's not too disastrous, but I'm not going to be standing up for anyone if I've got good enough reason to think that they're a creep. So we'll see how it all plays out, Ibu. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe. Please make sure you do that if you haven't already. I know a lot of you guys listening have already done that, especially if you've been hanging out with us this long. But if you haven't, please if you haven't got a YouTube account, make one. Subscribe to us. If you haven't logged in because it's just you're too lazy, log in, subscribe to us, like the video. We need the like, so hit the like button. Need you to do it. Appreciate all the super chats as always. You guys are great. The support keeps us going, especially on hectic weeks like this. And we'll be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. Wrestle Purists Worldwide. The usual three: myself, Ibu, Joe Holbert. And we're going to do a proper weekend recap. We're going to review the Rumble. We're going to talk extensively about Collision and shit. We're going to do whatever and we'll see what other news comes out, you know. But yeah, one last time, sorry. Like, subscribe. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for watching. Peace.